Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over. Danced another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
The crossover is brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com.
How we doing, boyos?
Josh.
How are you doing, Josh?
How are you doing, Josh?
Are you excited?
Are you you are the
Schwelle
biggest
time.
Schwelle fan in the entire state of
Let's go,
Nebraska
Schwelle!
today.
Oh,
Spencer Schwellen.
look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
Whoa.
Cool as a cucumber.
Whoa.
Are you like a duck in water?
Cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to say you are today.
We got this.
How old are you?
You do not got this.
As in cool as a.
Pretty sure I can beat the Mets one time.
You pretty sure? Because the Mets are the greatest wild card franchise of all time.
You know they got Luis Severino
nobody
in their
knows.
back pocket.
Nobody knows what they're going to do at any given moment.
I feel like the Braves beat Severino last week.
Are they incredible? Are they the best team of all time? Are they the worst team of all time? It could happen all in one day. And in that case, it'd be good for you, Josh, because then you'd both make the playoffs.
But we don't
I
think-
feel the Braves and Mets have gotten in cahoots with each other and said, hey, why don't
Yeah.
you win
Yeah.
one? We'll
Yeah.
win
You
one.
don't think
But
there should be
it's
a
where
pact?
you want to
Yeah.
go. Do you want to go to San Diego or do you want to go back to Milwaukee?
The Braves can only go to San Diego.
Really?
Mhm.
Mets are screwed.
I'm
Yeah,
going
the
to
Braves-
Baltimore.
The last time the Braves and Mets played on Tuesday, the Braves beat Severino with Schwellenbach.
Okay. You only would need to win one.
Yeah.
Like, because then you're going to go party and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then they're going to try and play the second game.
Mhm.
And the Diamondbacks are going to be upset at everybody for not taking the second game seriously. Everybody be swinging the first pitch.
Who was it? Was it Buster Olney or Jeff Passan yesterday afternoon? Both these teams, for the integrity of the game, need to take the second game seriously.
Yeah, you remember when it was the Dodgers and the Padres were in cahoots a few years back? That they had to have some integrity.
Yes,
Like,
if-
nah.
I kind of want to see Torey Lovalo's.
Let me tell you, whoever wins the
reaction
first
from that.
game is taking their foot off the gas in the second game
It's only natural.
yes.
So will they?
because they play a baseball game tomorrow in a different city.
So my question
Right.
is, does the winner of the first game, will they pop bottles?
Yes,
in
you
the
have
half
to.
hour
Yeah.
in between.
You have to.
Yeah, they'll do some
No,
shots.
No, it's
Some
half an
bottles and
hour in
shots.
I think
between.
there's a great likelihood of seeing an entire drunk team
Yes,
in the
yes.
second
It'll
game.
be like watching slow pitch softball.
That's going to be awesome, Josh.
It'll be the last game of a triple header when
So-
you're in the slow pitch.
so if the-
I would love it,
the
but
Mets win the first game. They're hammered for the second game, and the Braves' challenge is to not lose to a drunk team.
Yep.
That sounds like baseball to me. That sounds like
it
fun.
might be a bit surly.
I would watch that.
I think everyone would.
I think we're all
I think
watching.
social medias need to lean into it too and be
Yep.
like, "You want to see our drunk team?"
Pitch
Tune
was
in.
inside.
even the broadcast. Hi, that'd be amazing.
Well, good luck today.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you gonna have a playoff atmosphere there?
I have no idea.
I would
Is-
think.
is
they
everybody
would, wouldn't
okay?
they? I would think they show up for this, right? They have to.
The Thursday game, you just lost your ticket. You didn't. You don't.
Oh, okay.
You're. It's not good for today's
Oh,
doubleheader.
Oh, that's
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
I would imagine that there will be lots of seats available.
Yeah.
It's Monday at 2. So
Right.
yeah. Or I guess it'll be 1:10.
Man, got to
1:10
bring it. Come on, Braves Nation.
This is awesome.
So I'd like to be the Mets. So the Mets have been living out of their suitcase for a week. I noticed the Royals came home. So instead of Joel Goldberg, well, he maybe
Joel
did because he's not on
Joel
the
came
team.
home because he's not.
So they
on
went
the deal.
straight from
Soft.
Atlanta to Baltimore.
That's correct.
soft.
Yeah. No, they went straight up there. Can't confirm.
Ooh, I could probably take. Then I'd see the Orioles in the first two games. You think?
We'll see. We'll see what God has in
I mean,
store
the
for
Orioles.
us.
The Orioles had a weekend in Minnesota. They could have gone fishing. Instead, they played 3 games against a team that didn't want to be there.
Exactly. They basically played a drunk team too. They were called the Minnesota Twins. And they weren't drunk. They're just
That
bad
would-
at baseball for the last
That
month.
would be one way to forget the last month and a half of Minnesota Twins baseball.
Don't worry. Hey, Twins, it's fine. You got the Vikings. Vikings are good.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no reason to fear that Sam Darnold will turn into a pumpkin at any moment. No reason at all.
No.
Before we talk more sports here, have
Don't do that.
you guys noticed something in Omaha
No.
in the
Yes.
last couple of weeks? The smell?
No.
Why does
No.
part of Omaha smell like raw sewage and skunk?
Oh,
I was downtown Saturday night, but that's what sometimes parts of downtown smell like?
You think it smells like raw sewage and skunk just
yes,
in
parts
Omaha?
of this city.
Like,
Parts.
can you
like I can't even blame it on
pinpoint some
Canada
spots?
Well, it
or
is.
Kansas.
Can you
on
pinpoint
fires.
some spots?
Yeah, you can. It's the winds are coming in. The northern winds are
So
coming
you
in.
think the manure fields in Kansas are?
No, it's the
leading to the
opposite.
smoke?
This one fall it's Canada, spring it's Kansas.
So we're blaming Canada again.
Now, to be completely honest, I haven't smelled.
Yeah, I really.
it
Other
yet.
than the usual suspects
Early in the
downtown.
morning, it smells like raw sewage and skunk in the city.
Nice,
Hmm.
nice. Now you live in a very urban area. You know, there's buildings,
Yeah.
there's things around.
Yes.
There's
I do
commerce.
not live on an acreage.
So maybe it's something in there.
Okay. Well, I'll look into it.
Yeah, check
I
it
was
out.
just curious because I
Check it out.
noticed it this morning once again. And you guys, all three of you, kind of live in the same part of the city.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
I haven't noticed it.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe they take care of your part of the city.
They put up a wall and block the wind from coming in. I think. I don't know. I haven't noticed it.
Ed says
but
on,
it does happen.
Ed says on Twitter, go to the Target on Maple, 132nd and Maple.
It smells bad over there. Josh, can you confirm this?
I noticed no smell.
He said the Starbucks is shut down.
The Starbucks was shut down in the middle of the afternoon.
He
I
said
thought that was weird.
He said apparently the Starbucks at that Target is shut down due to a pipe problem.
oh, okay.
So that's where it's originating from.
I don't know.
It
That'd be
is
a pretty
stinking up
powerful
the
Starbucks.
whole town.
Yeah.
I don't blame Target. I blame Starbucks.
Yeah,
Sure,
oh yeah, that's
sure.
a Starbucks thing for sure. Andy says Gary is just smelling Iowa
They did have a bye week.
proximity. Too close.
The skunk thing we had not that long ago, and I know we brought it up on our show when it happened. I did notice that.
Every once in a while, it
There's
smells
a
here.
little skunky.
You know, we've been around here for a long time. It smells. It smells sometimes.
Okay. Texter Bernie just sent me a picture of a skunk in the middle of the road.
Maybe that's it.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah, we were having some toad issues. Maybe now it's skunk issues.
Oh, we got toads.
Yeah, we've had toads.
Do we got toads?
We've had toads.
I just know one thing about the skunks, and that they seem to be more prevalent in Omaha. If your dog gets sprayed by a skunk, that's not good.
You gotta shave them.
No. You have to shave your dog?
I would imagine you probably either that or you're using the tomato sauce they had to use on Elaine's hair after the BO and Seinfeld.
Sean says, Matt Surway used to say, if you smell the poo, you're in the cool. Is this true?
I don't.
I
Smell the
don't
know what that
poo,
means.
You're in the
I-
cool.
don't know. I miss Matt Surway on KTV.
Yeah.
He's now in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
He said the feedlots from Burt County.
The feedlots.
Now there are some.
It's the feedlots.
There are some distinct smells in certain parts of Omaha, depending on the temperature of the day. Like you can always go out by Rotella's and you smell the bread.
Yeah.
Love the
It makes
And
you
you
hungry.
immediately start gaining weight because the smell is,
Yeah.
it's just like, so you have that smell. If you go to Nebraska Furniture Mart, they
Subway.
they pump through the ventilation system, the subway smell.
Yes, the subway is unavoidable.
That's true.
That's
It's
right.
overpowering.
You
Yeah.
can smell the bread.
Yeah.
Then if you are down in South Omaha, you can smell South Omaha.
All right.
We're slaughter yards.
We continue to get many texts and notifications about 4-quarter pick'em.
Email has been sent efforting that problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. We're working on it. Just, give it a couple minutes, I guess.
You can smell the
But
poo
keep
in
trying.
the
Get there.
cool.
We'll get there.
You never know when it'll be fixed.
It'll be soon. That's the thought.
The
That's-
randomness is part of the fun.
Yeah, that's the idea.
You know what? I tried that when I was like in my teenage years. That was actually that was the right philosophy.
Oh yeah.
Just randomness. Just, when you think about something, you have no responsibility, you just go and do it. Just random in the middle of the day. You're like, hey, do I want to do that? Yeah, why not?
Oh, I try to live by that still every day.
Yeah, but you got some responsibility. You got.
I know.
You got two
It's
people
real.
that
It's a
rely
real
on you now.
problem.
Yeah.
It's a real problem.
It's harder
Like-
to go to Kansas City
Like
for lunch.
It is. It's
I
much
was-
harder to go to
I
Kansas
was
City for lunch.
disappointed. Like the last day of the regular season, I had some time, and I was like, I wonder if Connor would like to go to the last regular
I would,
season game.
but
then I thought-
but I can't.
He's got a young daughter and a wife who is like, she needs some time off.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking,
Yeah, you almost should have invited
thinking-
her.
should I put
Yeah.
in for
Yeah,
AL,
but then I had to take the baby.
should I put in for ALDS tickets because maybe Connor would like to go? And then I'm like, nah, he can't. He's got to stay at home.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm taking it like you said, one thing at a time here. If they get to the DS, I'll evaluate what's. I haven't even looked. What are the dates for the DS? Does it start Saturday?
Saturday,
It starts Saturday. I can't get there on Saturday. I got big red overreaction.
That's right.
For Rutgers.
And it could be a big one.
Team Connor spent the offseason championing.
And they wouldn't be here on Saturday anyway. They'd be here on what? Monday, right? Saturday, Sunday, day off Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Monday. Can I get to the ALDS a week from today? See, that's so far in the future. Although it doesn't look like I have anything to do on Monday. Next Monday. Maybe they'd be playing a day game again.
A radio show.
Other than this show,
yeah,
of course. But, that's the great part about doing the midday show. If you decide at 2 o'clock that you want to, they got a 6 o'clock or a 7 o'clock game.
That.
You could do it.
You could totally make that.
You could do it. What do you got that look on your face for?
The Kimby Mutombo passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Sorry, I assumed you guys hit that.
Yeah. I was going to not bring it up because I didn't want it to kill the mood.
Real down.
Crossover.
Yeah, that's
All right.
Well, Connor.
Yeah.
It appears as though the Royals can only play the Yankees in the ALDS, so you won't be playing any day games.
No. Cleveland.
No. They don't reseed.
According to this, Houston, Detroit.
Yeah, Houston, Detroit
plays
would play Cleveland, yeah.
Baltimore, Kansas City.
Your road is Baltimore, New York.
Yep.
Yeah. So
are you sure?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the MLB website here. So no day games.
Are you disagreeing with Major League Baseball?
I just thought
because the Tigers lost yesterday.
Well, I know.
Houston.
Well, I know that part, but I thought that the Royals were on the Guardians side of the bracket because they're the Guardians are the two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Royals are the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tigers are the 6.
Astros are the 3.
Okay. So
4 and 5.
Okay, so hang on.
So yeah,
hang on.
The idea would be the 3 and the 2.
4 and 5 play 1. 3 and 6 play 2.
Yeah. For anyone wondering, your 4-quarter pick link works now.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Does that change things now?
No, I don't know why my brain was. Once again, one thing at a time.
You could go to New York.
3 games in Baltimore. 3 games in Baltimore.
You've got roots in New York.
2 games in Baltimore. You're going to win all of them.
2 games in Baltimore, and then we'll see about the third. Cole Riggins, Seth Lugo, spinning it. Yep.
I think you have a chance. This has been a disappointing year for the Orioles.
Back.
Yep.
Is that official?
No. It's unofficial.
I like how you're speaking it into existence.
Also, it appears as if the 4-quarter pick'em email has just gone out again. So we will. That means that it works.
Yes.
That's good. All right.
Since we're just throwing things out,
way to be on top of it, boys.
Iowa has added a home game with Albany next year.
Oh,
reaction.
It'll complement
Albany's mascot. Go.
Since we're just
it is a Greyhound.
Albany, they've been in the NCAA tournament a couple times.
Yes, they have, and I think Gary's right.
The Dukes?
The Great Danes, baby.
Oh, damn!
What is that?
That's not a Greyhound. I could tell you that.
It looks like a Greyhound.
Figure out your dogs.
A Greyhound and Great Dane look alike.
It's a
poll question coming up.
Is a Greyhound a Great Dane?
Is 30-29.
I got an email. Okay, now hold on. Let me go back and find this.
By the way, young Gary Sharp had to do a book report on the Albany Patroons of the CBA.
Wow.
Phil Jackson was the head coach.
That was part of the curriculum? They made you?
You could do like a sports story.
Oh, and that was yours.
And I read up on the Albany Patroons. I did all these cut stuff out of magazines because I thought the Patroons was a pretty cool name.
That is a cool name.
That is cool. What's a Patroon again?
I think it was a plane, if I remember correctly.
That's a plane.
Okay. All right. A Patroon, huh?
All right. So I got an email on Thursday night.
I'm not 100% sure on that. That was a long time ago.
This is from David, Nationals fan David. All right. He emailed me, and the subject line is, once again, 29 is 30. He says, I'm in Missouri for my sister-in-law's wedding, and the whole family is here. My brother-in-law's family is from the East Coast, and my wife was talking with our nephew. He was tired, and so my wife said he should go to bed, and he said, not when it's only 6:54. She said, well, that's 8 o'clock where you're from. Once again, 29 is 30. If it's 6:54 and you're in the central time zone, but you're actually, your body's in the Eastern time zone, it's basically 8. You can go to bed at 8. I went to bed in the 8s on Friday.
That's a
It
good
was magical.
Wow.
It was
On
magical.
Friday?
I fell asleep watching the Twins lose and eliminate themselves from the playoffs.
You didn't
And
watch Miami, Virginia
let me
Tech?
tell you-
I didn't watch any of
watching
it.
Rutgers, baby.
I fell asleep in the 8
Let
o'clock
me
hour
tell you
on
about
Friday.
the ACC rigging the Miami Virginia Tech.
Oh
game.
no, I recovered. I saw
Yeah.
it all. I had a lot of
Ooh.
time when I woke up early on Saturday morning to watch all of these things again.
Hey, that's a Heisman candidate. He can't lose.
Appeared that way. So did everybody else in the house go to bed at 8?
Yeah, were you the first to go to
I
bed?
don't know what happened after that. I don't know.
So that was a good sleep.
Yes. All I know is that I woke up at around 6. And
8 to 6. Good on you.
it was like 9 to 6.
I'm jealous.
Damn.
It was awesome. I was so worn
That
out.
is
I
a
haven't
amazing
had
sleep.
10 hours of sleep in
Yeah, that's good.
maybe since I was living at home.
Last week. And you know who I have to thank for this? The Creighton Blue Jay volleyball team, who likes to take care of business in about 72
I did
minutes
notice
these
that,
days.
their
Light work.
sweep of Providence
That's
or
nice.
UConn went pretty quick.
Both of them.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Both of them. So I got
Are
back
you there
after-
tomorrow night?
I am.
Whoa. What are you going to do?
Well, we got a 3:00 game, Gary.
But 6 o'clock,
I know.
FS1,
It's-
huge match.
So I'm
Creighton Marquette.
I don't have to be on the floor yelling at people about the Jays until about 5:53.
Okay.
All right. So I'll probably go down there and I'll find a room for myself. Maybe I'll text somebody today. I was like, do you have a room where I could just be alone?
You're gonna
Maybe it
have to-
has pads or something like
You're going to
that.
have to add more to it. Like I want to watch the Royals game, not just leave it at that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have business I need. Well, I want to watch the Royals.
You're being
yes.
selfish, but that's okay.
I'd like to request a room at DJ Sokol Arena and sit there and watch it until about 5:53, and then we'll go back and evaluate after that.
No,
But I'm happy to have a day game. Happy to have a day game tomorrow.
So are we here at 1620 The Zone. It means there is no scheduling conflict on 1180 The Zone. You can listen to the Kansas City Royals playoff game and the Creighton volleyball game back to back.
Hell yeah.
Zach Gelb's not going to
Boom.
be happy.
Sorry, Zach. Thank you for interviewing Matt Rhule all those times, Zach. We
What does
appreciate
John
that.
Smoltz look like? Matt Nagy's older brother.
Smoltzy.
You can't go
Looks
with
a-
analytics.
looks a
here.
lot
What's he
like
got,
Matt
a
Nagy right
celebrity
there.
golf tournament today?
He
Oh,
must.
definitely.
Yep. But he
Nice.
looks like, I mean, Matt Nagy, if he was sitting next to him, they would be brothers.
I should put you in touch, Josh, with Mets fan Mr. Ryan. So diehard Mets fan. He said, "Don't forget the '86 Mets were the drunkest team."
That's
true. That's
pretty
But he
true.
said, "Can we
And
each
on other
forfeit
things.
one game?"
So
Yeah, it's a
I've
pact.
seen this theory that why not?
It's a pact.
Yeah, the baseball
I-
diehards would.
I
go to
don't know
town.
why not.
Torrey Lovato
Now,
would be very upset.
How will you feel actually though if the Mets do win the first game? Will you be nervous?
Okay. Then we're
Then we're gonna need-
ratcheting it up very quickly.
We're going to need like an ISO cam on you.
Josh, would you like to request a room?
I have a room at my house.
Okay. You're gonna be at home by the time this game 2 starts.
Probably not, because those logs will not be done. Get those logs done, or you're going to hear from
Can
me.
you send out an email right now and say you got a little quicker deadline,
Hey,
an earlier deadline
No.
than most?
I got to get the hell out of here. I'm going to be really unpleasant.
You need a room at NRG Media. We can find an extra room for you.
I believe that room is 1180.
Yeah, that is the room. Nobody goes in that room.
That's right.
This is we got a big
I'm
night on the
glad that
zone.
you three are getting to enjoy some postseason baseball.
Me too.
Did you guys
Thank
know
you.
that the Cubs hired Craig Counsell and we have the same record as last year?
Yeah.
Last year we finished a game out. This year we're 6th.
But you
sorry,
have
man.
less money because you paid Craig Counsell.
Oh,
And you know what?
that's
Yeah.
true.
And he got less money because
but
Ian
at
Happ
the-
bought all those guys beers.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason that Wrigley Field should have baseball in October. It should just, like, the colors are changing. It should just sit there. But at the end of the day, it's
You're right, Gary. This is how it should be.
all about the friends we made along the way.
Too many
That's
night
how I'm
games.
looking at it.
I want to go to the bleacher potluck, the end of the season, regular season potluck that
Yeah.
they have in the bleachers. That looks like a lot of fun. A lot of things there.
Ian Happ might throw you
We don't have
$500.
as many. We don't have as many night games as we used to.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted to have more, and they still have the right balance. But we did win a World Series there recently.
I remember this.
Wasn't that recent?
Second best baseball game of all time.
Okay.
More recent
than the Royals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't that recent.
You see,
That was a long time ago.
You guys in your recent. I had 1948. I wasn't,
What do you got against
That's not recent.
What do you got
That's
against
not
2016? We talk about 2016 on this radio station all the time.
Is 10 years recent?
I talk about 2016 a lot.
We talk about
Is 3 years recent?
Yes.
Hey, if you're still within the decade, you're good.
recent.
Yeah, I like it. If you're within the decade,
Yeah,
you're still good.
You're still within the decade.
That's recent.
So you can
Yeah.
celebrate your World Series and what today is the 10-year anniversary of probably next to the marriage of you and your wife and your child being born is probably the third, well, probably fourth when you got hired here. The fourth most important thing you've ever happened in your life.
Yeah, let's just say that. Let's just not put them in order. I like that idea.
So
What
just
would you
between
put?
you and I, would you put being in attendance for
It's the
The
number one
Wild-
thing that's ever happened in my life.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
That's right.
I say this every year, and now it's the 10-year anniversary.
Okay.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. Things change. If the Royals if the Royals, have a more recent championship or a more recent postseason run, say this year, then maybe that becomes less and less and less significant
wait
to
a
me.
minute.
And we forget
Wait a
about the
minute.
where's
2014 and
the
15.
marriage to your wife and the birth
That's
of your daughter?
in there. You listed them. They're all right up there.
It's all
Okay.
in the top 5.
Are these all one? Are these all one A, B, and C?
They're all right up there.
Okay.
No. You're couching this a little bit. Stick with your guns. I like this. Royals baseball, daughter or wife comes too.
Specifically that game, right? We have to.
Well, you don't have the daughter without the wife.
It's in there.
You weren't having sex 10 years ago. Now you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Or at least I mean,
Totally.
I don't want to assume because things can happen. You don't have to have sex to have a kid.
Sure.
But I'm just going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Thank you for saying those things. Thank you. It's just they're all
That's the way it happens.
they're all in a group up there at
Yeah.
the top. Just mix them around. Anyone could be number one on any given day.
Now,
It's
does it-
like the AP.
Hey, now
poll.
does it
Yes.
make it? Now does it make it different because you were actually at that game,
Yeah. It was the only playoff game that I went to in that 2-year run.
which is still wild to me.
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't as cool back then. I didn't have ways to just get in to games. Now I do. Now I'm big time. So
Did you ever
Won't feel
think
as-
about leaving that game when it was 7-3 in the eighth?
no, I never once considered leaving, but I did get up and walk around and take in what I thought was going to be the last time I ever saw the Royals play in the postseason in my life. The first time and
Yeah.
the last time. I took it in.
Ever.
I was like, yeah, this is it. And I sat back down and I'll see this Escobar got a little doinker hit up the middle, and then we were cooking right after that. 7-3.
Did you go back to your seat, or did you stay out of your seat thinking that you're bringing it better luck?
No, when I sat back down, that's when I
Oh, that's when it
I
happened?
saw him get the
Okay.
hit.
Okay, good.
I think it was 1 out in the 8th.
Were you by yourself
But my friend won tickets.
Oh, nice.
from 93.7 the ticket?
No,
in Lincoln?
from the Kansas City Royals.
You weren't there with Dirk?
I was not there with Dirk. Dirk didn't win tickets. I wasn't there with Dirk.
I was always amazed by stories that were shared.
I'm
in
getting texts
14 and
about
15
Big time. People are like, big time? Are you big time? Yeah, I'm big time now. Big time.
of the people from here in Omaha that drove to the game, didn't get out of the stadium until maybe close to midnight, came back to Omaha, and they were in work the next morning.
Yep.
That's what I
I
did.
was like, good on them.
That's what I did.
You are the heroes without a cape.
Grinder.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a heck of a day. That was a heck of a day. We'll relive that day today, as we do every year on this show.
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Good luck to your baseball team.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll
Those-
discuss your team tomorrow.
Many things to discuss. Well, a day from now, we'll have a postseason roster, and it'll say things on it that make me emotional. It'll say Vinny Pasquantino, and I'll say, wow.
Nick, how are the guards staying fresh this week?
Well, not having a game yesterday helped.
That's
They
right.
had robbed Jose Ramirez of pass again 40-40.
That's right.
I was bummed about
He wasn't
that.
going to do anything.
Oh, they'll probably inter squad it, typical things like
if he hits a
that.
home run in the inner squad, does he still get it?
I know, right? It should count
This
that
is the
one.
162nd game
Yes,
we've
this
played.
is
this
our
year.
game.
but I
It's a
see, like-
simulated.
Are all the wild cards on ESPN?
Yes.
Are they all available?
I think so.
And then my other question is, as I
mean like
look
Blackout?
at-
You mean not a ESPN
well,
Plus?
ESPN Plus.
Oh.
I don't. Ooh, actually, there might be one on ESPN Plus.
Like, will YouTube have the multi-view
Let's see.
for baseball?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't
have
care
to.
about any of the other games.
Let's see.
One thing at a time.
Dean Elfin.
One thing at a time. All right.
No
Gunnar
ESPN
Henderson.
Plus.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
you
ABC,
can watch
ESPN,
the game.
and the Deuce.
No ESPN Plus exclusive.
Jordan Westberg.
Go. They're using ABC to ESPN2.
Jordan Westberg. Ryan Mountcastle. Stupid names.
How would you feel if Ryan O'Hearn had a monster?
Oh, he will.
Because Ryan O'Hearn, Friday night hit a bomb.
Yeah.
But actually, he was the Royals' best friend.
They've actually been
Old
helping the
friend of it.
Royals quite a bit. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And for all the consternation about the month, and how bad they were, they were exactly where I thought they would be. Thank you to the Chicago White Sox for doing something very noteworthy in the final day of the regular season, almost blowing a lead against the Detroit Tigers, but not.
Are they exactly where you thought they would be? Because this time last Monday, you were not singing that same tune.
I said at the beginning of the month. At the beginning of the month, I'd be like, yeah, they're going to be the second wild card. They're going to go to Baltimore.
Okay.
And there they are.
Okay.
The second wild
That's fair.
card going to
That's fair.
Baltimore. Got a chance.
Congratulations.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
This show's going to be everywhere today. That's Crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Monday. We'll start things off next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, here we go. It's Monday on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you, who interestingly wore a Tennessee Titans jersey today out of fear that his Atlanta Braves will be embarrassed by the New York Mets at a doubleheader and not get into the playoffs.
I have a Braves hat on and a Titans jersey on.
Nobody sees the hat. They just see that
Nobody
nice Titans jersey.
Nobody saw the jersey either. We're on radio.
Oh. Some people aren't watching us on YouTube or at zonetv.live, Josh.
Oh.
I beg to differ.
They could see the hat.
I beg to differ. I guess they can. All right. Welcome to the show. Our emotions are everywhere this week. Let's set this up. Josh has got his Braves with.
They start in 90 minutes, Connor. So
a very, very interesting 2-game doubleheader today.
I'll hurry this up.
In which both games will be played. Hashtag Josh was wrong.
That's right. The nightmare scenario played itself out.
And the Royals and the Braves played unencumbered this weekend by weather. Actually, it was quite lovely on Friday night. The Royals were able to take their season finale and force this 2-game kind of playoff, basically. Between the Braves and the Mets. The Royals are in the playoffs for the first time since 2015. I'm excited about that. It is also the 10-year anniversary of the American League Wildcard Game. As a tradition on this show, this will now be the third time we run through this. We will pay tribute to that day during the show today. There's so many things to talk about, and there's so little time.
How will we do it all?
I don't know, but stay tuned to find out. Mike Schaefer will join at 11:30. We'll talk about Nebraska football. Of course, we'll do that right off the bat here. Matt Rhule on his Monday press conference, and Sam McKewon of the World Herald at 1. That is the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you guys? 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Josho at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. YouTube, 1620 The Zone TV, or conveniently located at zonetv.live. Mustache Adam says on Twitter,
hello, Mustache.
That's an Oilers jersey and not of the Edmonton variety.
Technically correct.
Yep. Derrick Henry, are you excited for him now that they just wrecked the Buffalo Bills last night?
My wife asked me this yesterday.
Are you excited for him?
She said, does it hurt watching him thrive in Baltimore? And I said, no, actually.
It feels good.
I'm quite happy for him. I want him to thrive and succeed and do well and win a Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, I don't know if he's going to win the Super Bowl.
Seems unlikely, but
they had a nice night last night.
He's got a better chance there than in Nashville.
And Nebraska wins it 28-10 against Purdue, right?
Yep.
If I would have given you 28-10 on Friday, you would have said, oh, nice. But people are triggered. We're not happy. We're not happy about things around here. Never happy.
It's got to look like it did against Pacific every single week.
Yeah. So we will go. Let's just start. This is going to be about Nebraska football today. Let's start with the messy parts. Okay. Right off the bat. I would like to take you through some of the occurrences of the Nebraska's first 6 offensive drives on Saturday. Are you prepared for this?
I think I am, but you're going to get about halfway through it, and I'm just going to get triggered.
Yeah, you'll remember some things, and you'll say, oh, my, that happened? All right, first drive. Nebraska, on 3 plays, gets it all the way to the Purdue 34-yard line after a 31-yard gain on an end around by Ja'Cory Barney, then proceeds to throw it incomplete 3 times, takes a delay of game, and punts. So drive 1 up to the 34, punt. Also, I'll add, and this was a sign of things to come. The punt could have been down quite easily, but the gunner was in the back of the end zone looking in the wrong direction.
What was he looking
He was not facing the field at all. He was just chilling in the back of the end zone. What's going on? Offensive play calling, didn't love it, and special teams not great. That's drive 1. I wonder if we'll see any more of those appearances later on as we move into drive 2. Drive 2.
First road game wrinkles. We're going to iron this out.
They'll be fine. They're moving it. They're fine.
Yeah.
We knew that Purdue couldn't set the edge, and Ja'Cory Barney's just going to have a hell of a day, and he'll be running free.
You talk about drive 2, and I'll give everyone the Peacock experience. Okay. Okay, try and talk over it. Honk, honk, honk.
Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
I'm Jack Collinsworth,
You couldn't hear them.
the loud one in the booth.
Couldn't hear them at all. Hey, I got an idea. Let's put a field mic inside of a trumpet. Thanks, Peacock.
Oh,
great,
sorry.
great broadcast. Second drive.
Second drive.
Nebraska gets a pass interference, another sign of things to come. On a shot down the sideline to Heinrich Harburg, they complete a pass to Barney and then runs it 3 times to get to 4th and 1 at the Purdue 19-yard line. Then Nebraska decides, you know what? No more field goals today. We're going to go for it. Then Bryce Benhart, the guy who started 1 million games in his career, false started. And then they missed a 42-yard field goal. That's drive 2.
Still early.
Drive 3. On to drive 3. Nebraska once again decides it wants to go for it on 4th and 3 from the Purdue 22-yard line, 2-2-yard line.
Situation alert.
There was I got so many tweets about situation alert. That game has to continue, by the way. Thomas Fedoni is then called for a pass interference where it was incredible. He did not touch anybody and got called for pass interference. It was awesome. The guy tripped and there was no contact that was made. Thomas Fedoni gets called for a pass interference. Nebraska has to move backwards, and then they just decide to punt it from the 37-yard line. Let's just punt. All things considered, that wasn't actually that bad. Obviously, the pass interference was horrible, and people want to talk about officials. Once again, sign of things to come. Nebraska downs the punt at the 10-yard line. Special teams, not bad. Except for the fact that you felt like you couldn't kick a 52-yard field goal.
I felt like you couldn't kick a 22-yard field goal.
That was a situation alert. All right. Okay. So now we have a lot of things have gone wrong so far. We are on to the 4th drive. On to the 4th drive. Nebraska gets the ball at their own 43-yard line after the defense gets a 3 and out. They get 2 consecutive pass interference calls.
That's right.
To move the ball down the field. Dylan Raiola probably had 400 yards actually passing if you put in the penalties. And so then they have 1st and 10 on the Purdue 23-yard line. Our young baby boy, Dylon, takes a sack on 1st down. And Nebraska ends up having to try a field goal, a 44-yard field goal on 4th and 13, and it is blocked. All right, so now we're kind of swimming in it a little bit.
Yep.
All right. The evidence is overwhelming, but there's still more. 5th drive. Nebraska gets the ball on their own 27-yard line and immediately on 2 plays, one of them being a pass interference, gets into Purdue territory at the 47-yard line. And then they get it up to 3rd and 1 on the 38. And guess what happened? False start. Incomplete on 3rd and 6. Punt from the 43. Not good, Josh. Not good.
Nope,
There's a couple themes here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What have I said? Which words have I said a lot? Pass interference, false start, and bad special teams. That's all wrapped into one. Punt from the 40. It gets down at the 6th, though. Nice job. Nice job, special teams. 6th drive. When will this end? Nebraska starts on their own 25-yard line with 2 minutes and 39 seconds left on the clock. And in 3 plays, including the 2-minute timeout, they have it on the Purdue 25-yard line with 1st and 10. This must be the drive where they score, right?
Breaking through.
1st down incomplete. 2nd down pass interference. 1st down to the 14-yard line.
Here we go.
No gain on a Ramir Johnson run. 2 straight incomplete passes. They kick a 32-yard field goal, and it is blocked.
Ah,
That really went downhill fast, didn't it? So in summation, what the hell happened? Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not freaking out. Was I mildly at this point, Josh,
what was your actual thought at halftime of that game?
I didn't think that Nebraska was I at no point in that game did I think Nebraska was going to lose.
Okay.
I thought it would be scary. I thought, at the rate that it was going, that it would go into the fourth quarter.
They were still moving the ball, and Purdue wasn't.
They were still moving the ball, and the defense was playing very, very well.
And so you give a team like that hope, anything can happen.
I didn't feel like Nebraska was going to lose because I just felt like they were the better team, but they just shot their own foot off 700 times. So also in summation, they were during that time period, they were 0 for 6 on third downs, 0 for 1 on fourth down, got a fourth down on a 2nd and 1. They actually got one, but they committed a penalty. Had 2 field goals blocked, missed a field goal, and failed to down a punt.
Not great.
No, not good. And it's at this moment where it's ablaze. Everyone is like, what is wrong with this team? Are they broken? This is like, it's been a couple weeks of consternation now, going back to, starting against Northern Iowa. It's like, I don't like how that one went, but I guess they won.
Looked a little worse each week.
And then Illinois happened, and then they crapped down their legs in the fourth quarter, and obviously overtime happened, and then this game, and you're like, oh boy. Has Dylon been sucked into the vortex of pain? And the answer ended up being no. And so I guess the question is right off the bat, and we can get to this, we'll dive into this more. I got a few emails and texts and things like comments coming in. Were you happy? Are you happy with the results of the game? And how do you feel about the team now? Because as we know, it is possible to be, let's just say, different on a week-to-week basis, right? Not everything that happened in this game is going to show up in the next game. Not everything that happened in the last game is going to show up in the next game. But there are some themes that we followed along. But luckily enough, the offense pulled themselves out of it in the second half. What changed? Well, here's a hint. In the second half, they only faced two third down plays. They only got to third down twice in the second half. So that is something that we could discuss today. Like what's happening to Nebraska on third down? And the answer is it's a variety of different things. They're committing penalties. They're making mistakes. They're having bad calls. I mean, that was on a fourth down, the Fedoni one. They're having bad calls go against them. It just feels like everything gets kind of hyper pressured into this, champagne bottle, and then the cork pops off on third down. Woo! To continue with the baseball theme of the weekend. One of their 2 third downs, they scored a touchdown to Jamal Banks in the back of the end zone. The other third down, they handed it off to Carter 0899848943, and he tried to jump over everyone, and they didn't get it, and then they ended up punching it in on fourth down and with Dowdell. Anyway, so they converted 1 of 7 third down attempts in the game, and they were obviously 0 for 5 or 6 in the first half. Moral of the story here is don't get into third down, especially third and short.
Great strategy.
Something bad will happen, it appears.
Also seems like for this offense, putting it in the end zone is a better solution than trying to kick a field goal.
That is a situation alert.
Mm-hmm.
That is a situation alert. I have a few emails that I'd like to get to on the other side. Now that we've explained it, how do we feel about Nebraska football and things going forward? Nebraska is a touchdown favorite this week against Rutgers. Everything's fine.
Hello.
We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Caleb writes in on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Hi, Caleb.
Where they take banking personally. Caleb says, Connor, can we talk about how Emmett Johnson should be considered the top running back now? Watching the game Saturday, he looked like the most comfortable to me. I personally feel he's showing the best vision currently. This could always change, but going forward, I'd like to see him get the bulk of the carries. What do you think? Thanks, Caleb. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a yo-yo situation. Like, I think this is the benefit of having the 4 running backs, right? And really, it's, I mean, we're just talking about 3 sans Gabe Ervin, who did get a carry near the goal line, I believe, on Saturday. If I'm thinking of the right game, let me pull up the stats here. You got a carry near the goal line, a carry for 4 yards, and tried to score and got tripped up. Here's the benefit of having the 3 or 4 guys is that you can kind of go with the hot hand. And I do think Emmett Johnson is the hot hand right now. And frankly, I don't know what it is about him, and I'm certainly guilty of this as well. I watch him. I watched him last year, and I'm like, yeah, there's something that's really maybe like off-putting about a running back where he just does the same thing consistently over and over and over again. It's not like he's breaking these massive runs, but like if you told me eight carries for 50 yards, which is Emmett Johnson's day on Saturday, I'd be like, yeah, that seems like an Emmett Johnson day to me. And I don't feel like that should be looked at as a negative. That should be a positive. Something
to say for dependability.
Absolutely. I thought he ran with the most patience out of the running backs that we saw. Obviously Nebraska was getting stuff done on the edges. They knew that they were going to have that. So Ja'Cory Barney actually ended up being Nebraska's leading rusher on Saturday with the end around 66 yards, and Barney ended up having 2 catches for 28 yards as well. So nearly put up 100 yards of total offense to Ja'Cory Barney. So I think it's this is an individual kind of game by game thing, but I would agree with you that Emmett should probably get earlier carries and more reps right out of the gate. I still think he's like a 12 to 15 carries max kind of guy. But if you could get some good stuff from Dowdell, you got really good stuff from in the first couple weeks of the season, and then mix in some of that other game. That's what Nebraska has to do. They have to be a little bit diverse, I think, in the run game. It's sort of an NFL style. But you saw kind of how it went in the first half with Dowdell, and it just kind of wasn't enough. And then Emmett Johnson took over, and he popped a couple. Now I would say that I would add this, that what Nebraska did with Ja'Cory Barney in the pass game. Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Yes, sorry. Is that a thing? What Nebraska did with Ja'Cory Barney and in the pass game was able to open things up for Emmett Johnson. And I do think that's kind of that's part of the plan. That's why he's been playing in the second half a little bit more over these last couple games. So it doesn't it's not always a 1-to-1. And I think that's the point of the show today, right? That's kind of the Nebraska football thing. Like, okay, if you copy and paste, is Nebraska more of what they were in the first half or more of what they were in the second half on Saturday? And it's just like, it's just because we like to do this thing where it's like, oh, okay, this is what they are, and let's apply that to the rest of the season based on the most recent thing that I've seen from all of these other teams. And that's just not how it works, right? Nebraska, I talked about this last week, and many have. They are, and Rhule talked about it after the game, like they are improving, right? There are some things that they are going through right now, but ultimately they won the football game, and they won it pretty comfortably, and they came out of their shell in the second half. And I'm not saying that they're good. I'm not saying, like, comparatively, Nebraska football player John Bullock and Matt Rhule have each said it in the past. They keep saying, hey, we just have to keep telling ourselves we're a good football team. Like they're saying it to themselves. They're saying it to themselves. We are looking at it in the context of what everything else is going on around college football and what we've seen over the last several games. Now we're almost halfway into the season, and you're thinking, I don't really know what this group is. That's okay, because you play the games that you play, and you have the problems that you have in the games. You just hope that Nebraska can figure out those problems, and they don't shoot their foot off.
Kind of important.
Exactly. So
gotta maintain our composure.
I don't know, man. Like we're getting it a lot in the YouTube comments. A win's a win, and that's what Venmo Chris says. A W is a W. People need to look around college football and realize that teams struggle sometimes against overmatched opponents, i.e. Texas. It happens, and they won. I don't like. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you probably thought you were going to win this game by
Did you?
30.
Did you?
You certainly left 13
because
to
that's the
24 points on the field in the first half.
But if you do result by result, think about the conversation that we were having a week ago and how much of a meltdown it was around here. And then all of a sudden, people just expect coming back the next week that they win by 40 points against a conference team, like on the road.
Purdue is bad, Connor.
Well, okay.
They fired their offensive coordinator.
They did. They fired their offensive coordinator. And now we're using that as like, Nebraska should have beat them by. No. The defense was incredible. The defense was good again all day long. They got the one garbage time drive at the end of the game where Card made 2 really nice throws. And like, I don't get the yo-yoing. It's like, once again, we're in shambles a week from today. And then all of a sudden, by the time Friday comes around, we expect Nebraska to beat Purdue that comfortably on the road, and they did, and people aren't still like, I don't get it. I'm confused.
You won a road conference game by 18 points. That's pretty good,
right? And not to say that there weren't warts in there, that there weren't problems in there. The football is not perfect, as Matt Rhule said, but
you're not ready for Ohio State.
Nebraska was never going to win that game 56-10. Yeah. I would have been amazed if they won it 56-10, if they were perfect the entire game. There are things that happen in a game that sometimes don't allow you to win by. I guess.
Good job not letting it run down your leg in the second half because you're so in a tizzy mentally.
I guess I am having a problem figuring out where people are with this group. I like. Do we think they're good? Do we think they're bad? And how do we apply that to what we see on a weekly basis when they play? I'm like, I thought that Nebraska would win by 10, right? I thought that Nebraska would win by 10, and it would be a little difficult for them on the road. And I don't like, we like to make a lot about the opponents. Who is Purdue? Who they lost to? They got ran all over. Yeah, well, I told you guys a lot of the stuff that they have been run all over on defense was from teams that had the ability to run the football with the quarterback. So it wasn't always going to be easy. But the one thing that you could take from it is, they could probably get the edge here because they haven't been good at setting that. And look what happened. They took advantage of it. That's Nebraska's version of the quarterback run game. And they ran it for exactly how much I think they need to, on average, this season to be successful. 161. If Nebraska can run it for 160 a game,
that's your number.
That's my number. They ran it for 160 a game, and I feel pretty good about that. They ran it for 161 yards. And they probably, like I said, with the penalties, ended up passing it for like 400. So I guess, I don't know. I don't really understand I don't know. What are people mad? I'm confused. Like, I saw, so Josh put out a question. It was like, what do you think Nebraska's going to be? Like, what do you think the spread's going to be? Guess the spread.
The spread for Rutgers.
And I saw somebody guess like, Rutgers probably by like 4.5 or something like that. Nebraska's a touchdown favorite, guys. Like, jeez. Jeez.
Yeah, I thought we'd come in today and everybody would tell us that, well, they might not make a bowl game.
Yeah,
I thought that.
I don't know
the tenor today of the audience.
I don't know what the tenor is. I'm having a hard time figuring you guys out. Got a tweet, or I've got a couple of these from this morning, and it is true. It does appear, because I'm a Verizon customer, it does appear that Verizon is down. So if you have Verizon, I guess you can't call us or anybody for that matter.
Oh yeah,
in Omaha. Yeah.
I have Verizon.
There's a major nationwide outage with Verizon.
Nationwide? It's a big nation, Connor.
That's what Ross is saying on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Oh, wow. Hi, Ross. Thank you, Ross. How was Ross able to tell us this?
He emailed us.
Oh, okay.
He did not give us a phone call. You can still text if you're connected to the internet, I guess. But yeah. I don't know. I'm having a hard time figuring you guys out. I don't really understand. Are we mad? Are we happy? Because I feel like the overwhelming.
Do I have to be mad or happy?
No, you don't. You can just take it on a game to game basis. I don't think that's a good way to put it, Josh. I don't think anything really should have changed after what Nebraska did on Saturday. They're going to have these times where it doesn't look perfect. And then they're going to have these times where they run the thing up and down the field and it's like, whoa, this is what they could be. But they don't. Like teams in Nebraska's category of teams around college football, they just aren't that all the time. That's why they are where they are. And so then it becomes about the games. And then it becomes about what you do in the games and the mistakes that you make and the problems that you could cover up or the good things that you can accentuate. And Nebraska's got to get good at doing that.
I will still say I'm pretty sure this team can't run the ball all that well.
From a traditional standpoint?
Yeah.
But we talked about this in the offseason. Like, okay, I think that and thought that too. Mm-hmm. But if they have the quarterback that they have and they establish that, is it just because we don't like the way they're doing? I don't understand how you couldn't like it, though. They have an incredible quarterback, and they come out and they're passing the ball all over the field.
Uh-huh.
And
that I love. Looks great.
That sets things up for what you did in the second half. Is that why? Is that why people are angry? Because it's not running the ball. Like we got to be able to line up, run it straight at them, and get 10 yards.
I wasn't prepared for a
follow-up question. It's not how it works.
It's more of a vibe.
All right, we got to take a break.
Okay,
but I don't even. Yeah, we got a lot of things that we're gonna get. I got texts and emails and comments that we can get to on the other side. It's the Connor Happer Show as we get loose on a Monday, 1620 The Zone.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, so a couple thoughts from you guys before we move on to some other parts of Nebraska's win.
Big dub.
Taking TCB on the road.
Well,
Now the big Rutgers game. Josh, are you scared of Rutgers yet?
yeah, I watched them Friday night.
Yeah.
I felt like Nebraska's offense looks very similar to Washington's. What Washington did on Friday. But man, Rutgers just sometimes gets loose. Those running backs.
It's a pretty good team. It's a pretty good team. It might be about who makes less mistakes.
Yeah.
On Saturday. So we will have plenty of time to talk about that this week. Okay. Your comments. Let's see. Hokisker. This team doesn't need to run for 500 yards a game to be good, guys. They are versatile. Yeah, like I just thought I guess I was giving everybody I just thought we were this is gonna sound kind of pretentious, but I just thought we were smarter than that.
Nah.
Right? I just thought we were smarter than that. Guys, I'm going to say that I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's about people like, oh, they have to be able to run the ball. And obviously it would be great. It would be helpful. But you also have to evaluate what you are, the personnel that you have, and what's going well for you on any given down or any given series or what it might be. And like Nebraska's answer to what they do in situations when their back is up against the wall is they put the ball in Dylan Raiola's hands, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I know that people want to run for 500 yards a game or 400 yards a game, and like that'd be awesome. But keep in mind that you have a quarterback who never makes a wrong very rarely makes a wrong decision. I want the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
I want the ball in, so if I'm offering you that and I'm giving you that question plainly, then what say you? Do you want to keep running your head into the wall? Like, obviously there's some, if you're doing that in the first half, there's some things that can be beneficial from that when you get later and later in the fourth quarter and things start to get a little bit leaky. But I mean, you've heard Rhule talk about this for a long time. They want to be a good team in the third and fourth quarter. Nebraska was a great team in the third and fourth quarter on Saturday. And yeah, I want to be able to run it. We wondered about their ability to run it from a traditional sense all year long. And once again, they ran it for 161 on Saturday. But maybe we got to be honest with ourselves. Maybe Nebraska throwing goal balls down the sideline and getting pass interference calls was what was working for them on Saturday, and they kept doing it.
Sure.
Over and over. Like, I also
clearly the refs were gonna call it.
I also felt like that was a whenever you get into a game like that where it sort of becomes a penalty fest and a mistake fest, and people are just generally uneasy about that. No matter if they're going for you or against you. It's just like, oh, well, we're in the middle of a huge dumpster fire at this point. So I guess this is what we are now. Like, no, Nebraska was taking advantage of something that it figured out that it could do. Or Purdue was saying, I'm not sure if we could guard these guys, so let's interfere with them.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe it's their style. Maybe it's how they like to, that's how they like to play defense. They didn't like what they were saying was, we're going to roll the dice out there. We're going to say that you are not going to call this every single time. But they were wrong. Snake eyes. They called it.
24 accepted penalties for 260 yards.
So when you get in games like that, it's just like, oh my, where are we? How far has Nebraska football fallen? Like, there hasn't been ugly, but once again, they once again didn't turn the ball over on Saturday. They made several special teams errors.
Many.
Yeah, which we'll talk about.
We'll get there.
They made several special teams errors during the game, but they still never turned the ball over. And the recipe to this season was always going to be, okay, you have a pretty good quarterback. You have a better wide receiver group. You're probably going to get a little bit taken away from you in the run game because your quarterback doesn't give you that anymore. Can that be a recipe for wins if the defense is just as good as it was last year? What has happened? All of it. Nebraska's quarterback has lived up to the expectations and more. Nebraska's wide receivers have been pretty good. They drew a bunch of pass interferences on Saturday. Nebraska's okay at running the ball. They're not great at running the ball. They might not even be good at running the ball in a traditional manner, but they're not turning the football over. They're not making mistakes. And that's a recipe for at the end of the season, a good team. Like, are we really going to go throughout this entire season, not admit and be worried the entire time or whatever, like say that they're not good or say that they're bad and they belong in this and this and that, and then they end up going 9-3 at the end of the season? Like, is that in the, because I'll tell you this, it's happened before. In fact, it happens every year down the road in Iowa City.
There it is.
It's just a mindset adjustment, I guess. We just got to be comfortable with this. Or maybe we'll experience it enough. You know how Iowa built their empire? They just didn't turn it over for years and years and years. Years.
Not wrong. Not
Right?
wrong. Yeah.
Did they make mistakes? Did they do stupid things?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Who
But they
doesn't?
had really good special teams and they never turned it over.
Really
And they
good
were-
special teams.
Yep.
Wow.
And they played really good defense. Now, where Nebraska doesn't have is, Nebraska does not have great special teams. They don't even have good special teams. They have no good, very bad special teams at this point. But
That's right.
math equation here, they have a really good quarterback. They have a better quarterback than Iowa's ever had,
Mhm.
right? So where do you make that up in that game? I mean, in the math equation, I think that means a great deal.
Put it in 15's hands.
John
Yes.
writes in,
Hi, John.
says offense and defense were good. Special teams is absolutely atrocious. Got to be able to knock in a field goal to not make people want to jump. Yeah. So, a whole bunch of penalties, whether they went for you or against you, and then can't get a snap right, can't get a hold off the snap, and obviously can't get the kick off of the bad snap and hold.
Mhm.
Had a couple blocked, had one missed. You can't trust it at this point. And all of a sudden, once again, you're sucked into the vortex in the first half, and you're thinking, how did we get here? How are they so bad? But when you look at really what the guts of what they were doing, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Let's clean some stuff up. And I don't need to be like, I don't need to be Rhule's mouthpiece here and be like, hey, we just got to clean these things up and we'll like, no, they need to be better on special teams, and they need to find a kicker, and they need to
Okay.
do all these things better. And they need to find a long snapper.
I was going to pin you. I was going to pin you down on
or
that
a
one.
medium snapper. I don't need it,
I don't know that after 5 games you're just going to work that out.
No. So Nebraska has to scheme around that.
Mhm.
They have to find out better ways to spend their time rather than going up and getting 44-yard field goals blocked or
Yeah.
38-yard field goals missed. They need to find a better use of their fourth downs. And so that's or try and clean up the errors and keep doing the same thing that you're doing. It's a roll of the dice, and that's up to the coach. I don't think everything's perfect. They're good. They're pretty good though. As I kind of thought at the beginning of the year, but the special teams is very, very bad right now. Husker Dave writes in,
Hi, Husker Dave.
I could care less what some fans think. We have quite a few who are a little bit out there. 4-1 isn't bad. Illinois game was disappointment, yet was still winnable down to the end of regulation. Yeah. So Dave, just to clarify, are you saying it was not winnable in overtime? Because I kind of buy that.
Felt like that.
Yeah, definitely on 3rd and 42 from your own side of the field in overtime. It didn't feel that winnable.
Might not happen today, guys.
Lee writes in,
Hi, Lee.
I don't care if they only run for 120 a game. I just want to see them show the ability to run when needed and win the game. Okay, so situation alert, right?
Oh.
3rd and 3, and that you don't want to put your kicker out there to go kick a field goal because of how badly it's gone so far. And I know we want Nebraska to just line up and hand it off to whoever they're going to hand it off to and get 3 yards. And maybe they will do that. But remember what they did, like scheme comes into play here too. The personnel that you put on the field comes into play here too. What they did against Illinois in that exact situation, because they knew they didn't want to put the kicker on the field in a tie game in the fourth quarter, was they put out all their run personnel, the guys who look like they're going to block, and then tried to throw it to one of them, but they missed. How'd you think the process went on that play? It's pretty perfect. Yeah. Nebraska has to get creative with how they convert in these situations. And from that standpoint, I don't think the process is actually that bad right now, because I think they know who their best player is. I think they know who their best decision maker is, and it's the quarterback. Shouldn't the confidence and the comfort that you get from watching him play football outweigh this was my point last week too. Shouldn't the confidence that you get from him and the comfort that you get from watching him play football outweigh a lot of the bad things right now? Because in my mind, it does. I would rather have an awesome quarterback than have an awesome field goal kicker. I don't know if that's a hot take, Josh. Is it?
I don't think so.
Look, I mean, we'll bring up Iowa again. Look at the way that they've built whatever they've built, right? They feel like they only have one option, right? It's we're going to have to run it, and we're going to have to run it well. And there were some years where they didn't necessarily run it well. All right, well, we'll take our field goal kicker and and our punter. That puts a lot of stress on your defense. I would rather be in the situation with the really good quarterback and then use the really good quarterback. I don't like the idea of taking the ball out of his hands very much. So I want to see him be able to run it when they need to run it. But in order to do it, I just think they have to get a little bit creative. They have to scheme a little bit. And if they don't feel like they can get it, then you still have the quarterback that you're able to fall back on, who, once again, very, very good.
Email from Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Everything you were saying is right, but Nebraska's 4-1 and the turnover margin is positive. Win and move on.
Yeah. I mean, we could still, like, it doesn't have to be that simple. I don't know. Maybe I'm not being clear. Like, it doesn't have to be that simple either. There are problems. There's problems.
A couple things we're still watching.
There's problems. But they did comfortably win, and they found a way to not have their problems accentuated in the second half of that game. The field goal kicker was not necessary, was unneeded. You got a defensive touchdown, and like the long stream of points in the third quarter, right? It's kind of the recipe, It's kind of the recipe. All right, from the text line, for the 402, can we just call it the kicking game? There's nothing special about it. Well, the problem is, Texter, it's not just the kicking game.
There's some punting bugaboos.
Yep.
I guess a punt is a kick.
Like, there have been times where I've thought Nebraska's problems on special teams were very, very difficult to solve because the problems were so limited and isolated to the punter and the kicker. I do not believe that's the case. And I don't believe it's also limited to the specialists either. I don't think it's just the punter, just the kicker, just the holder, just the snapper. I think there's other stuff in there too. Right? Punt return, guys running free. Punt return, guy in the back of the end zone who should have been trying to down the punt. I don't even know who it was. Trying to down the punt, and he's facing the wrong way, and he's in the back of the end zone. That doesn't do you any good to be in the back of the end zone. It's just these errors that can hurt you if teams have good special teams units. So it's not just isolated to the kicker and the punter these days. That's true. That's what I believe anyway. From the 402.
Hi, 402.
I want Nebraska's run game to be respected in game planning. If there's no threat, then Dylan will get killed. It will turn into last year's offense, but pass instead of run. Yeah, but that being said, Texter, it's not like they were just hugely pass heavy. Dylan Raiola dropped back 28 times.
He got sacked once.
He got sacked once. He threw 27 passes. He completed 17 of them. Nebraska ran it 31 other times. They ran it more than they. So it's not like Nebraska's like this air raid offense now. I just think we're talking about really highly specific situations when they get their backs up, when it's short yardage and all of the stuff, all of the problems really boil over during those moments. We're asking the question of whose ball do you want it to be? And we want it to be, in Dylan Raiola's hands. That's what I think anyway. That doesn't make them like a pass-heavy team. That doesn't mean they don't have a run game. Nebraska can get better in the run game by virtue of what they're doing in the pass game right now. It's just a little bit different setup than it normally is. Michael writes in,
hello, Michael.
Can Ja'Cory Barney play running back? Why are we always turning people into running backs?
We have enough running backs.
We did Jeff Sims last year. We turned Jeff Sims into a running back.
It's Ja'Cory Barney Jr.
Why are you saying that? Was you specific about that?
That's what his jersey said Saturday, and I never noticed it until Saturday.
So 2 things on. Also, we get a text here from Yippee. He says, if you're scared of Rutgers, you don't know ball.
Whoa. On that note, just real quick, the net success rate. It's a super nerdy analytic stat that Gus Johnson hates.
I love analytics.
Washington beat the brakes off of Rutgers.
That's right.
Except for a couple of runs that ended up costing them a couple turnovers.
Guess what? Who cares? 4-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Nebraska beat the brakes off of Purdue, according to that stat.
Dave writes in, Ja'Cory at running back. Did we not learn our Wan'Dale Robinson lessons? So a couple things on, first of all, Barney, how did he not get a flag on the cheetah peace sign into the end zone?
Yeah, I thought we can't do that anymore.
I don't know what the taunting rules are anymore, but they
were calling everything.
They were calling everything. There was flags all over the place. I was sure that touchdown was going to get wiped off the board, or there was going to be a 15. I don't even know what the rule is anymore, but I was sure that there was going to be something called on that play. Didn't happen. So after that, and Clayton Collier of WOWT tweeted this out yesterday.
Hi, Clayton.
Did you happen to see the video of basically that play and the aftermath of it? And then there was a cut of the pregame where they were chanting at young Dylon in the student section at Purdue, and they were telling him that he was not Patrick Mahomes. They were saying, "You're not Patrick." And so then,
all right, that's pretty funny. Nebraska
scores. They take what was a comfortable, likely insurmountable lead at that point. I think that made it 21-0. And they do their little dancey dance, whatever the hell they're doing, and their TikTok dances in the end zone. And then Raiola runs right by the student section on the way back to the sideline and gives them a little wave.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, you tweeted this video out.
That's a good video.
I forgot to watch it.
That's a good video. Watch that video, Josh.
The TikTok dancing. Oh, a little nice little high five.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi.
Now, was he doing the Patrick Mahomes give me the next play signal?
You know probably everything he does is Patrick Mahomes.
he's just Patrick Mahomes all the time. All right. 402-951-1620. You can call in on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You can call or text that number, tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed as well. We are going to chat with Mike Schaefer here in just a couple minutes. Matt Rhule's press conference coming up at the top of the hour. We'll see how he feels about this, taking the emotion of it. I don't know if you guys noticed. It's pretty emotional after the game on Saturday. He had the whole line about somebody's going to have to stand up for Nebraska. Somebody's going to have to fight for Nebraska.
Fight for Nebraska. I'll let Troy do that.
I think he's a little frustrated about the officiating over the last 2 games. And I think he's frustrated. I think first of all, I'll say this. I think he's a little online, I think he gets. Okay. I think he reads the narratives a little bit too much and listens to the narratives and podcasts the narratives a little bit too much.
He's getting it boiled down for him, at least.
Yeah.
Here's what they're saying about you today, Matt.
Yeah. So I think there was an air of frustration a little bit after the game. It's like, here's what people are saying. I know what people are saying about us. And so if they use that as motivation, that's fine. But we've seen how that can become toxic before. Not saying it's there yet, but we've seen how that can become toxic. We're going to play, or we're going to take one call here real quick, and then we'll get to Mike Schaefer. So let's go to Mark on the 42 Degrees Source hotline. Good morning, Mark.
How are you?
Hey, good.
Good. Hey, these comments about the gunner running into the end zone and not paying attention where the punt was.
Yeah.
That's completely overblown. Have you watched the video?
Well, I mean, I watched the game.
He got blocked into the end zone, and he was trying to fight his way back out. He got blocked at about the 1 yard line or maybe the goal line. And then so if you only saw him in the end zone, you're completely missing the play.
So
I think you need to go back and look at that one again.
Okay, so he was at the 1 and then got pushed into the end zone and then
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And then he's trying to fight his way back out.
Gotcha.
And by the way, that was the young Boodle,
Mr. Boodle,
DiCaprio's younger brother, whatever his name is.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the call, Mark.
Take another look at that and see what you think.
I will. No, thank you. Thanks for the call. I mean, that's context that I probably should have had, but all I saw was
watch the all 22.
Oh, I guess I didn't watch the all 22. All I saw was the cut to where the ball was, and I saw young Dwight standing in the back of the end zone. Didn't look like he was being blocked, but once again, Dave says that is correct. Still, I mean, I don't know.
Don't get blocked.
Don't get blocked, I guess. Either that wasn't, and I hope I didn't overdo it too much, because that was not that was not in the top 5 of special teams mishaps. It was just another in a long line of things. But thank you for the call, Mark. I appreciate that. We'll come back with Mike Schaefer coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Here come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth, for sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
Well, it's September 30th, which means today's the 10-year anniversary of the Royals winning the American League Wildcard Game, the best baseball game ever played. But also, the high is 89 degrees today, which would only mean one thing. Mike Schaefer, who joins us now on the 42 Degrees Source Hotline, has his slow cooker up yet again. Hello, Schaefer.
I'm not thrilled by the outdoor temperatures, but I will not be deterred from slow cooking here on Monday. Today, we're just going to go with a really simple 3-ingredient dump slow cooker recipe. We've got the chicken, we've got the taco seasoning, and we've got the paste salsa that is now covering the chicken and the taco seasoning. That's right. We're just doing crock pot chicken. It'll be great.
So what will that amount to at the end of the crock pot?
So when the chicken gets done, I'll shred it all up. And then tonight, I think we're going to make nachos with the shredded chicken. And then tomorrow, we'll come back with just your normal kind of taco.
And so I received a picture, but clue the audience in on how the pasta with the garlic Parmesan seasoning or sauce went last week.
It's been a really good week to be Mike Schaefer. Obviously, the Vikings just trounced the Packers. The Guardians have made the playoffs and don't have to play this week. I'm fairly certain other good things happened to me. Hudson's fine. Health is great. But that pasta was the highlight of my week. It happened on Monday, and then I got to eat it for leftovers again several times, and it was phenomenal every time I had it. I mean, just tremendous stuff. I cannot say enough about the Parmesan garlic pasta that I had last week.
Would you like another reason why it's good? Now, this applies to everybody who enjoys baseball, but I assume that you'll like it as well. Major League Baseball has just announced that starting next season, they will return to wearing regular jerseys in the All-Star game. How about that? Another
That's
great
good.
example of how it's good to be Mike Schaefer.
A lot of things Rob Manfred does are just terrible.
Yes.
He's a terrible leader. He's a terrible commissioner. He's terrible. Occasionally, he falls backwards into a good decision that someone else probably just foisted upon him, and this is probably one of those. I think it'll be great. The everybody wearing the same generic jersey that nobody likes. Nobody wants that for your All-Star game. Mix it up. We want to see the Pirates, right there next to the Blue Jay when Vlad Guerrero is playing first base.
Yeah.
And Brian Reynolds is standing on first. I don't know how Brian Reynolds made the All-Star game. You figure it out.
Those were really random guys, but thank you for name dropping them.
Well, that's everyone makes that joke. Like, a group of guys couldn't have more fun than if they just start naming random baseball players from the 90s. I find that to be really true for my life.
Also,
the part of it is there's different versions of that game. Like, you can do the one where you talk about NFL players, and then you have to guess like what college they went to.
Yeah,
I always enjoy that game too.
Also, Major League Baseball says that changes are in the works for the regular team uniforms, which will include now pant customization and increasing of the sizes of the lettering, returning to previously used materials that the players requested. The letters are going to be regular sized again. So they've fixed all of our problems on the final, one day after the regular season ended.
So like a year after letting fanatics just take advantage of everything or blaming it all on Nike, we've come back to determine that they've had to make some cosmetic changes to the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at.
Yep. But hey,
that makes sense.
A win's a win, just like Nebraska against Purdue on Saturday, right?
Absolutely. You don't apologize for wins.
So, what has been, because I've had a difficult time trying to figure this out. What has been the mood in your sphere of influence on Nebraska's performance on Saturday? Is it more positive than negative, more negative than positive? Like, what are we taking away from their Once again, 18-point win on the road in conference.
I think it really depends on which version of events you want to talk about. If you want to just start with the fact that Nebraska's defense rebounded from a poor performance against Illinois, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do to a bad Purdue team, you get those people being fairly positive. You get the people who want to talk about what the second half looked like in Nebraska's offense and how they were able to finally take care of business and finish drives. Those people are usually positive. If you get the people who just want to talk about how Nebraska's special teams are absolutely on fire and there is no one with an extinguisher anywhere nearby, not so positive. So it really just kind of depends on like what people want to dive into. That game contains a multitude of things.
Yeah.
It's obviously more good than bad. Nebraska walked away with a win. They walked away with a cover. They did what they were supposed to do for one half of football. But I actually found myself thinking a day after that game, I didn't give the defense enough credit.
Totally.
They basically took care of that game that allowed Nebraska to work through some issues. And I didn't give Dylan Raiola enough credit because we have seen versions of this game in the past where the stupid turnovers bite Nebraska and they lose it, and the defense isn't able to just play perfect and they lose it. And we didn't see that on Saturday. So in some ways, as annoying as that game might have been, and as ugly as the game flow was, there was real growth from Nebraska. And I think that's what obviously Matt Rhule wanted to focus on after the game. And the more I allowed myself to move past just the mind-numbingly bad nature of special teams, the more I came out of thinking, okay, Saturday wasn't pretty, wasn't great, but that was kind of an important win for Nebraska in some respects.
When you add it all together, the good with the bad and all the things in between, what do you get? Like, using the data points that we have so far this season through 5 games, do you feel like you have a good grasp on what you can expect or what this team is?
I feel okay about where this team is at. This is exactly the record I thought they would have, just a reverse of the results in Illinois and Purdue. I thought Nebraska would struggle when they went on the road for the first time. They definitely did. They struggled in ways I didn't think they would. But this is very much the team that I thought they would be at the end of September. Like I didn't think they were going to be perfect. I didn't think that they were going to get to October and just have announced themselves as Nebraska is now a college football playoff team. I never thought that was what was going to happen here. And instead, they're worse in ways that I didn't think. Like their special teams are a lot worse than I thought. And it's not just the long snapping or the holding or the kicking or the Tristan Alvano's hurt. They have just horrific play from their gunners, from their specialists that aren't just the guys that are involved with the kicks. Like it's not good enough in some regards. And Matt Rhule really has to address that. And he has to address whether it's, something Ed Foley needs to be doing differently or if they need to use different personnel. They have way too much talent athletically to be as bad as they are in position to down some of these punts or to corral some of these punt returners. And for back-to-back weeks, you have guys that aren't even close to being where they're supposed to be in those situations. It's completely unacceptable. And so I think special teams being so much worse, I was not prepared for. Everything else largely looks how I thought it should or would, but special teams, that one is it's hard for me to rectify how far they've fallen. I mean, we're not talking about, Brian Buschini has a shank every now and then, or they're not getting the net average they want. No, we're talking about just a borderline catastrophe at nearly every aspect of that position group.
So and you mentioned it, it's not just the kickers and the punters and the holders and the snappers, although those accentuate some of Nebraska's problems, I think, and definitely, make people take a closer look at what's going on, but it's kind of all the other stuff as well. Where does Nebraska is it as simple as they can improve when Tristan Alvano comes back? Because I don't know that that's true, because the snaps still are no good and all the other problems still exist. How can Nebraska make that situation work for itself in the next, in the coming weeks?
As hard as it is to hear and even to say, I mean, they just have to keep attempting. They have to keep practicing what it is that they're going to practice. I think you try different personnel in some situations if you think that'll help out. I don't think that there's a technique thing. I don't think that there's a quick fix. I think they just have to keep working on it and keep drilling on it and keep really emphasizing it. And this isn't, This isn't 10 years ago where Nebraska might have been ignoring special teams over something else. They focused on this. That's sort of the alarming part. This didn't sneak up on anybody. This is something that they've been working on, and it's just been that bad in game. Is it that bad in practice? Because if it's that bad in practice, I would be really concerned. So they have to figure out how and why it's not translating over to games. I would like to see them continue to try to attempt things. I don't think you can get to the point where you just can't call your offensive plays anymore because you're in a certain spot of the field and you don't have the safety of a field goal kicker. I think you have to keep trying. I know that's difficult because it may not go well, but I don't think there's any way you can get out of this that doesn't include having to work through it head on and having to face those circumstances during games. You know, there's going to be a moment against Rutgers here on Saturday. Nebraska is going to have the opportunity to kick a field goal. I think Matt Rhule is going to have to make that decision internally, and it's probably going to hurt, but I think he's going to have to at least allow them that attempt because they have to have the success to beget more success, and they have to prove that they can do it on the field that isn't practice. And you can't do that if you aren't willing to put him in that situation. And I think that he is, but the fan base has to also understand that they're going to have to just work through this. We're kind of in the it is where it is territory.
Schaefer, you mashed this morning on your website, Husker 247, about Nebraska's running back situation. I thought Emmett Johnson was displayed some things where you just haven't been getting from Dante Dowdell over the last couple of weeks. How does Nebraska manage that situation with specifically those two guys? Because I think we know what Ramir is going to give you, and I think Gabe Ervin will just have random appearances near the goal line going forward. So you almost take those two out of it. How does Nebraska manage Dante Dowdell and Emmett Johnson going forward?
Yeah, I'm really curious what they end up doing because I think you'd have a tough time looking at the last 2 weeks and not seeing what Emmett Johnson was able to do in terms of your inside zone or some of your running game and think we don't want to get him the ball more. I mean, he was very effective in the second half against Purdue, and I'm sure there was other things Nebraska did that maybe wasn't happening in the first half. But one of the things was he just has, it seems, better vision. He's able to make himself small. He can get into some tight spaces and get through. There was one carry in particular where, the ball is supposed to go inside and it closes up, and he's able to just play right off the back of the offensive lineman, break a tackle right on the line of scrimmage, and then pick up 8 or 9 yards, nearly break another tackle, getting into the second level that Dowdell might have just plowed straight forward for 2 yards on that play. I just think there's something that Emmett sees, and we saw this last year too, where he has good vision at times to kind of work through some of the traffic. Whereas Dowdell, I don't know that he's going to work through the traffic so much as he's going to try to run through the traffic.
He loves running into the traffic. Yes.
And I don't know, I don't know that that's going to be successful in Big Ten play. And so I think, and I'm someone who I don't think that Emmett Johnson, there's people who have gone over their skis about what they think Emmett Johnson is. I think he's a fine running back, but I think what he can sort of give you in the style of game you might have to play, and he might just be more helpful than Dante Dowdell. And so the other thing is Nebraska wants to get more out of their first down runs. If you look at the last couple of weeks, Emmett Johnson on first down has been significantly better than Dante Dowdell. Now, some of that sample size and circumstance, but you don't want to be second and long, third and long, and make life difficult on Dylan Raiola if you're this committed to the run game. The other way to look at this, Happer, is that they could dial back some of the running. The most important player on your offense is Dylan Raiola. Taking the ball out of his hands and putting it in someone else's hands 35 times a game may not be the recipe for you to win in November.
Yeah.
So that's something else worth watching too. There's a version of this where Nebraska says, all right, we don't have to try to be balanced for the sake of being balanced, especially if we can find ways to have Dylan Raiola distribute the ball safely, cleanly, and sort of simulate a run game through the air. I think there's that. I think that's a possibility. I don't know if Satterfield will do it, but I think that's a real possibility given the limitations of Nebraska's ability to just line up and run right at people. I think not having a quarterback run game hurts them more than I anticipated. That'd be another thing that I feel like I've learned through 5 weeks.
Yeah. Mike Schaefer, Husker 247. All right, Schaefer, great stuff. As always, we'll let you go. I know you don't feel happiness for anybody else, but are you at least excited for me that I get to watch playoff baseball tomorrow with my team?
I'm excited for all the people that get to watch playoff baseball. Playoff baseball is a joy up until it's that pit in your stomach that just feels like it's going to eat you from the inside out. And you're just sitting there and you want to be done with everything. And you realize it's the first game of a series and that there's more games that are coming.
Yeah.
That's playoff baseball. So while there's the joy of your team being there, there's also just that experience of feeling like you're, just going to combust from the inside out.
I'm ready for the pain. I'm ready to have that flaming knife driven into my abdomen and just see what happens after that.
Is Josh excited about this doubleheader that all of America will be tuned into?
He is trying to play it really cool. Josh
just got to win one.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. He's not showing any of his stress.
Braves fan in 2024 asking what could go wrong seems like maybe the wrong route to go, personally.
All right, Schaefer.
What can you do? All right, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Mike Schaefer, Husker 247. Hopefully he enjoys his very interesting crockpot situation tonight. Got some comments on the YouTube about it.
Oh, yeah?
Mike Schaefer is a white man.
Oh.
Yes.
People noticed, huh?
Yeah, I know a lot of this is, it's radio, so you can't tell, but I think he spelled it out for you.
Some examples were given.
Back after this with the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Josh. Before we get to Matt Rhule's press conference, this will be the last piece of work you do today. So better be good.
Well, I assure you it will not be.
All right. Awesome.
So
great.
Go ahead and lower those expectations.
Well, people expect a lot from the odd news.
People really like it. They walk to me all the time. Say how much they like it.
They don't like it as much as situation alerts, though.
Great segue.
Or,
Thank you.
I have an opinion.
I have an opinion. Thursday, we introduced a new game called Situation Alert, where you gave us a football-related situation, and we'd tell you whether we'd kick a field goal, kick a punt, or let our beautiful baby boy Dylon do his thing.
Just spin it.
Mm-hmm.
Or hand it off to the fullback. That's
right.
still an option.
Always an option. A wild play capped off a fight-marred high school football game between Riverside and South Charleston Friday night in West Virginia. After a melee in the end zone saw sheriffs have to break things up, Riverside decided to attempt a 97-yard field goal.
Oh, how'd it go?
It backfired big time. Malcolm Brown grabbed the football at the Riverside 40 and returned it for a touchdown. The kick was 60 yards short.
Now, did anybody ask Mr. Coach why?
I believe he was trying to stick it to somebody.
Huh.
Now, certainly he thought, there's no way in hell this kid's going to make this, but I got to try it just to stick it to the other team.
I don't know what kind of lesson that teaches.
I don't either.
All right.
I believe it was just a bleep you to the other coach that backfired big time. Riverside, the team that attempted the 97-yard field goal, was up 56-20, or I guess it would have been 56-13 at the time.
Was it as big of a bleep you as Matt Rhule challenging that play just so the officials could go back on the monitor and have to watch the mistakes that they made?
Look what you did. Look at it.
I know I'm not going to win this challenge. I'll eat that challenge, but you're going to have to see it.
A little something to that, I'm sure.
Yeah. And my guy is, once again, he loves to give people bleep. Loves to give people bleep.
He does.
And he likes to talk that bleep. He's
does.
a bleep talker. Remember when he made that golf shot in training camp? He's like, I'm the man. Don't mess with me. I make that shot never. But this one time you challenge me, I'm making it.
East Coast guy, not afraid to talk.
Yeah, he's got that dog in him.
College Game Day has announced their location for week 6.
Oh, where are we headed?
This weekend we are heading to the liberal bastion that is Cal Berkeley.
Oh.
Why's that odd, Josh? Well, the show's never been there before.
Never,
ever.
Huh? Who's Cal playing?
Miami in an ACC showdown for the ages.
That's right. They're in the ACC. You could tell me that as many times as you'd like, and it would still take you 2 times for it to really make sense to me. I was thinking I don't know, Stanford,
right?
Something like that.
At halftime of Georgia-Alabama, it was announced that Game Day will be in Berkeley for the Miami-Cal matchup. I assume the rest of the college football slate is not great next weekend. Maybe you could look that up while I tell you all about Cal Berkeley. Next weekend, Game Day is going to uncharted territory, Reese Davis said. We're down to 5 power conference teams that have not hosted Game Day, he said.
Oh! And whom are they?
I was okay. Once Cal hosts Game Day, the remaining schools to not host the pregame show will be
okay.
Do you want to guess?
Well, it would have taken me too long.
Okay.
Just tell me.
Rutgers.
Okay.
Illinois. Maryland.
Wow.
Gee, wonder why those 3 haven't hosted it. Is it because ESPN and Big Ten don't get along? Syracuse.
Well, okay.
SMU, who's new to the power conference,
barely
game,
counts,
and Virginia.
All right. And each of those schools have had moments.
Yeah, just
you missed a window of opportunity. Yeah. Yippee, by the way, says
Hi, Yippee.
Happer, you keep saying Rhule challenged the OPI play. This is false. That was a review. Rhule challenged the Carter Nelson goal line run, and coaches get 1 per game. Again, you do not know ball.
Wow.
No, I'm pretty sure he challenged that because they were challenging whether he caught it. Barney caught it before or after the line of scrimmage because that's the only thing you could challenge. You can't challenge a penalty, or you can't challenge whether a penalty happened or not.
Mm-hmm.
Not in this society. Maybe in some other one. No, Yippee, I'm pretty sure that was a challenge.
I don't know.
You don't?
No,
You're not going to defend me on this one?
I have.
He's saying that I don't know ball.
I have my guys back, but I genuinely don't know.
All right, hold on.
I watched the Big and 60 replay, so.
Oh, you Big and 60'd it?
Yeah. Did you watch that Peacock broadcast?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't.
Let's see. Dylan Raiola.
YouTube user says Connor, as always, is correct.
As always. Wow.
Good job, YouTube
And
user.
by the way, it wasn't to Barney, it was to Ramir.
Wow.
Johnson.
Ramir.
Penalty, Nebraska pass interference on Fedoni and forced 15 yards to Purdue 37, no play. Yeah, I thought that was a challenge. Now it's possible that young Jack said that it was a challenge and it wasn't, but I thought it was a challenge.
Whoa, how dare you accuse Jack Collinsworth of getting
It's
something
possible.
wrong
It's possible.
during that game. Finally, we end the odd news just up the coast or down the coast. I'm not really sure of my California geography. In Oakland.
Yes.
I thought this is where you would chime in and correct my California geography.
I believe Oakland would be north.
That would have been my guess if you made me guess. The final Oakland athletics game took place over the weekend before the team moves to a minor league facility in Sacramento for 3
actually,
years.
you know what? Berkeley and Oakland are right next to each other.
Wow, look at that.
And technically, Oakland would be south of Berkeley.
There you go. We don't know maps.
Not California. Not California.
California way. So the Oakland Athletics post-game show after their final game as the Oakland Athletics probably elicited a lot of emotion and comprehensive coverage of what took place after the game, right? You'd be wrong because it was pre-recorded before the game due to quote-unquote studio conflicts.
Love it.
Meaning, hey, you got to get the hell out of here.
Now I'm bothered. Now I'm trying to figure out who challenged what.
Yeah.
I swear to God they said the coaches challenged it. The refs, because the ref talked so much in the second quarter. I swear he said that they were challenging it.
I'm sick of that guy.
All
I
right.
don't want to see him
Now I'm going to
anymore.
go back on my Peacock and find it and just see what happened.
Well, mute it. We don't need to hear that train horn.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's the odd news. It was great. You can go to bed now. Watch the last 3 minutes of First Take and then into your Braves broadcast.
So Teddy Bruschi. I don't like Teddy Bruschi's opinions on anything.
Back after this with Matt Rhule's Monday press conference on 1620 The Zone. All right, so I went back and I loaded up my Peacock on my devices.
How many devices?
Just this one for now. Also, do I have cell service yet? No. I got a message, by the way, from Sam that says, I got no cell service. I can't call you.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I don't know what Schaefer's got for a phone provider or a service provider, but it seemed to work fine. So I went back and I went on Peacock, and the announcement that the official made before the review of the Fedoni of the play where Fedoni committed a penalty was the previous play is under further review.
That could mean anything.
It could mean so what? So somebody said that it was like, why do they automatically review it? Well, that wasn't an automatic review. I mean, I guess he scored, right?
Was it buzzed?
I guess he scored. So I guess that is a play that is automatically reviewed, right? Yeah. And they're automatically reviewing. Can they only review whether or not he scored? Because he clearly scored. But they review the play in its entirety to see whether he caught it before or after the line of scrimmage. Either way, I mean, Rhule. So I pulled it up to the point where, like, they're lining up to punt, and they get all the way lined up to punt, and Rhule is just killing the guy. He's just ripping the guy, and he's like, he didn't even touch. He had in that moment, I kind of thought he was Bo Pelini. I was like, he had that really, really angry face, and he didn't even touch him. He didn't even touch him, all this stuff. And then they went to the review, and everyone got to see that he didn't touch him. And then the play had to stand anyway, because he clearly caught it behind the line of past the line of scrimmage. Anyway, okay. So I don't know that this means that I don't know ball. I'd be willing to listen though. If you say I don't know ball, that's probably true.
Whoa.
This ball, I don't know this ball.
This one ball?
I don't know this ball.
You know many other balls?
No, I know some ball.
Okay.
But football, it's hard. Hard to understand. Too many rules.
It's a tough game.
Too many rules. Too many officials not knowing what they're doing.
Looks so
What
different.
are the rules on challenges? Mm-hmm. Is there a 2-minute warning or a 2-minute timeout? It's very confusing. So, I don't know. Maybe this is an example of how I don't know ball.
I have an update from Major League Baseball.
Hello, baseball.
Major League Baseball has advised the Mets and the Braves to not conduct a champagne celebration in between the two games of the doubleheader. This is a real thing, by the way. So it is possible.
So they don't get hammered for the second game? That
That's
actually
right.
seems like a good memo.
That's right. So it's possible there will be simultaneous celebrations in the clubhouses after the game, after both games of the doubleheader have concluded.
Well, that's fun. You know what I always dream of, when my team goes to the postseason? I always dream of losing the game that they played that day and then winning because the other team lost later that night and then celebrating in a visiting team's clubhouse.
Yeah,
when you lost that. That's how you dream it up, Josh.
Was Friday night the night for you?
That was the night I went to bed at 8:45, but I pretty much knew that they were going to clinch the. I didn't have it in me to stay up and watch the celebration. Although I missed a lot. It would have been a lot of fun because Bally's Joel Goldberg sent out a tweet and he was like, we're staying on the air right now, and we're going all the way into the end of the Twins game and through the end of the Twins game of the celebration.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then I turned on the Twins game and it was in the 6th inning. And I thought, what are these guys going to do for the next hour? So I don't know what happened on Bally's.
That's talking ball.
I don't know what happened on Bally's for that hour, but they did get to the celebration after that. Yippee he's the person who said I don't know ball. He is leveling with me. He says Rhule may have had a hand in forcing them to review it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an official challenge, but it was like hey, you could better look at this, and I want you to look at this because I want you to see how wrong you are. I think the point still stands.
Look at it.
We are still we are waiting on Matt Rhule's Monday press conference, which will certainly come up at some point, right?
That's right.
It'll happen.
You following what's going on in San Francisco here with the Giants?
Yeah, they fired their GM.
Yeah, they have a new president of baseball operations. Have you seen this? Have you heard about
his
this?
name is Buster Posey.
I know him. I know Buster Posey.
You know Buster Posey?
I know of him. I've never met him. He's not a close personal friend like Jeff Jarrett or Matt Waldron's dad.
Or Frank Caliendo.
That's right. Who was mentioned on
Frank Caliendo
on one of the which broadcasts
had a big weekend.
Yeah,
he had a big. It was Nance and Romo.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's a big weekend to be Frank Caliendo. It's pretty cool. Big day for you, Josh.
Always. Every day's a big day for me.
Big weekend for Jeff Passan for a variety of reasons as well.
Yeah, what's going on there?
So there was a report that Jeff Passan was going to be the new Woj.
Like the basketball.
Yeah, he was going to change sports and be the basketball Jeff Passan. Now, if he went to basketball, would he be basketball Jeff Passan or would he be Woj? Would he be the new Woj? It's very confusing. He says Buster Posey, the 3-time World Series winning catcher for the Giants, is taking over as the president of baseball operation after the Giants fired Mr. Farhan Zaidi, just now. Fired. It's tough.
Gots to go.
Sometimes people get fired. Speaking of, just like Graham Harrell, speaking of baseball, Josh, one quick thing before we get to Matt Rhule here, whenever he comes up. Maybe I have to filibuster even longer. As is tradition, it's filibuster radio here on a Monday. So yesterday, Charlie Blackmon played his final Major League game.
He sure did.
Charlie Blackmon was the last remaining Major League teammate of Jamie Moyer, who played until he was, I think, 50, and up until a few years ago.
At least 50.
Who I once saw walking down the street in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I said, "Is that Jamie Moyer? That can't be Jamie Moyer just walking down the street." And it was Jamie Moyer. I went up to him.
Places too.
I went up to him. I said, "You're Jamie Moyer," and he said, "That's right." So Jamie Moyer, who retired several years ago, the last of his teammates, has now retired from Major League Baseball. That would be Charlie Blackmon. So this ends an era. So Jamie Moyer debuted in 1986 in Major League Baseball. So there was either a teammate or, a future teammate of Jamie Moyer from 1986 until 2024, already a long time. But Jamie Moyer, so then I saw that stat and I tried to go back and I go, well, Jamie Moyer had teammates who had played for many, many years before him as well. And it turned out that in 1989, Jamie Moyer and Nolan Ryan were on the same team. Nolan Ryan debuted in 1966. That's nearly 60 years of Jamie Moyer or Jamie Moyer's teammates in Major League Baseball. So there's your baseball-y stat of the day.
End of an era.
End of an era indeed. Josh?
Connor?
It's almost game time for you, my friend.
Yeah. What do you got on the rest of the show? Sad I'm gonna miss it.
Well, I'm gonna need you to stick around. I know Schwelly's taking the mound right now.
Schwelly?
I'm gonna need you to stick around and help us get Matt Rhule on the air, but after that you can take off.
Okay.
Whatever you're gonna do. Also, looks like a great crowd.
It can't possibly be.
Man, I missed game 163. This is kind of like game 163, but it's a doubleheader. This is so weird. And there looks to be, I don't know, 15,000 people in the stands right now in Atlanta.
I was
maybe
gonna say 15.
It's scattered. It's scattered.
A little bit. Well, traffic.
Traffic in Atlanta is bad, I've heard.
It's a late arriving crowd. It's gonna be a long day. You got to pace yourself. You can't be there 45 minutes before first pitch.
No. Maybe they just it's an open doubleheader, right? A true split doubleheader.
Yes.
So you could just walk in at any time you want from now until about 6:00.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do that in the celebration. How about Spencer Schwellenbach, by the way, becoming like a bona fide number 3 guy? Like he's going to pitch a game 3 if the Braves get to a game 3 in the wild card round.
Today is his 21st MLB start.
Yeah. How about that?
And he's not the guy, but like they lean on him. They're not afraid to like just okay. It's your day. You're the guy today.
It's Schwelly Day.
Mm-hmm.
Hank writes in.
Hi, Hank.
Doesn't an end of an era also mean a changing of the guard?
Oh, interesting.
There's
Hank.
a reason why you like that stat so much. It's because it involved a changing of the guard.
It really did.
Also, Nick is wondering how much Josh is working today. I would say that Josh is one of the most prolific people in the building in terms of work. I would say that. But
yeah,
today, we'll see. We'll see how this afternoon goes for him.
I might not be doing much, or at least my productivity will be slowed.
But if you didn't do anything, then the building would just fall apart.
Many have said that. Many have speculated. I cannot let the building fall apart.
No.
But I will be doing the bare minimum.
Okay. Bare minimum Josh today. Usually he goes above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
It's disappointing.
Which gives you days like today where I can do that because, wow, that's weird coming from him. I was told I was a leader.
Still no sign of Matt Rhule.
No, I don't even have a photo from the scribes.
Great.
So like, hey.
Why don't we take a break then? And then we'll just see if we can catch him on the other side.
Okay.
He'll probably start immediately when we take a break.
Sure, but then we can pause it.
He used to be punctual to these things.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be very on time.
Well, now he's the bad boy of the Big Ten, getting flagged for...
He's standing up for Nebraska.
Throwing his headset on the field.
He's fighting for Nebraska. We got Signetti up right now on the Big Ten Network. I don't want to hear any of it.
This guy likes to talk.
He loves talking.
He loves saying things.
Shut up about Indiana. We'll theoretically be back with Matt Rhule at his Monday press conference next on 1620 The Zone. Still no sign of Matt Rhule. Maybe he's fighting for Nebraska still. Maybe he's submitting things to the Big Ten Conference.
Just had so many things to get on that list and get it off to the Big Ten office.
The Big Ten, speaking of the Big Ten office, they have released their kickoff times and network designations for Week 7. This will be Nebraska's bye week before they play Indiana, ranked Indiana. Can you believe it, Josh?
Kurt Signetti and them boys.
They beat it up on a whole bunch of trash cans. And I believe who does Indiana play this week?
Probably another trash can.
I want to say it's
Northwestern.
Of course.
By the lake.
Oh, well, you don't just go to by the lake and win.
And then they've got a bye week to
Live to tell the story about it.
For Nebraska.
Nebraska and Indiana each have bye weeks that week. What are we going to do during our bye week, Josh?
I don't know. Watch baseball?
Oh, God willing. God willing, we'll be watching baseball.
Oh.
Is there a press conference?
I got him.
All right. I was going to tell you about the schedule first. So, Big Ten Saturday night, NBC, Oregon and Ohio State. Northwestern and, Big Noon is Washington and Iowa. How about that? That'll be fun. Kinnick, Penn State, USC, 2:30 CBS. Nice little Saturday. Nebraska will be enjoying their bye week. But let's head out to Matt Rhule at Memorial Stadium. Here he is. Oh, my God. We're feeding something into the wrong place.
With Graciano, right? Yeah. What was your experiences with him when you were a player and he was an assistant on that team, and just your relationship over however many years with him, and what you respect about him?
I respect. He's there's lots of coaches that are regarded as like the best coaches in college football. Not many could do what he's done. Okay. Speaking as a guy who won at Temple, and I mean, you go in at Rutgers. Before he got there, not many people had won there, and he won there at a high level, left and came back, and he's winning there again now at a high level. He's a great football coach. Point blank. He's just a great football coach. Great builder. He's elevated that entire university. I have the utmost respect for him. When he speaks, I listen. I just have a lot of respect for him.
You thought after the game, your initial impression was Gunnar did pretty well. Did the tape kind of confirm that with the O-line and just how they got after it?
Yeah, I think so. I think Gunnar played well. I mean, there's some things, he wants to continue to work his anchor. As he's getting people going speed the power on him, he continues to work on it. He'll get better. That's a really important thing this week. There's no better coach defensive front you'll see than the Rutgers D line. I think our guys know that from playing them 2 years ago, because what I like about Rutgers is you look at I have this big board in my office, and there's not a lot of transfers on there, right? There's a lot of homegrown talent and a lot of tough Northeast kids that play really hard. So Gunnar will have to do what he did last week, continue to get better. I think it's a credit to the guys on our scout team. We have a lot of guys who've played a lot of football who play on our scout teams that give them a really good look.
Javen made his debut on Saturday. Just how do you think he played after everything he's been doing last week?
Yeah, Javen went in kind of in like a nickel and dime role. It was, when this first happened, we never thought he'd be able to play at this point. Dr. Mathiasen, our team doctor, and the work he's done with the specialists. I mean, I honestly, we were hoping maybe for USC. The hard part about my job is I only get called in when it's, when it's the heartbreaking conversations. I'm not the position coach. I'm not there for the day-to-day good ones. I'm always the fun guy, but I was there for that one with Javen and his father. And just like I was with Ramir last year when his season was over, and those things are heartbreaking. And so to see the joy on Javen's face to play was that was a moment that will stay with me for a while. And so, how did he play? Honestly, I'm not even sure that it necessarily even matters, to be quite honest, but he thought he played well. He'll play more this week. He hasn't practiced, hasn't been able to do a thing. It wasn't like, hey, he's coming back from an ankle, he's dealing with, blood clots and all that stuff. So he's, hasn't done a thing really. And but he went out there and luckily, he said to me, I'm a ninth year senior, whatever he is. So he's got a lot of reps in the bank.
Coach, Tommy Hill's status for the week, Stephon Thompson, Mike Mazuka. Do you have a personnel update on just some of those guys that went with you last?
Yeah, Micah was suspended last game. He's reinstituted this week. That was kind of middle of the week that happened, so it wasn't something we were. I met with you guys. I wasn't anticipating that, to be quite honest with you. Stephon Thompson has a sprained foot, and he ran well today, so we're anticipating him practicing tomorrow. So I'll know more about that. And then Tommy went out like the NFL, like 2 hours before the game and worked out, and just didn't quite feel like he could go on it. Now he ran today and feels good. So I would anticipate Tommy having a chance to play this week. I think that'll be another, probably, be quite honest, game time decision. It's all the plantar fascia is all pain threshold, and it's not like, can you tough it out? I mean, I've seen guys miss a long time with it, so he's doing everything he can to play. So we'll see.
Is Michael ready to roll? He'd be back in the lineup.
No, I wouldn't put him. I wouldn't start him. I mean, he was a backup before this happened, right? Like like when he came out of the Colorado game, he was Toski was put ahead of him. So he's got. I love Micah. I'm working with him to make him the best he can be. You guys talk a lot about him, but he's a backup player for us.
This is not asking you to criticize the refs, but what's the process that you guys go to as a staff to maybe send in certain plays weekly? Do you do that type of thing, and what's the end result of that process?
Yeah, you send them in. You send in, hey, is this a question? Is that a question? Questions you have, they'll send you back whether they agree or disagree. There's like a weekly tape that they send you that has points of emphasis from the week before. So I'm saying from the whole league, so you can kind of hear what's being said to the officials, and then if it's something that rises to a higher level, right? Maybe you get on the phone with somebody and say, hey, So for me, because I got a penalty because I injected myself into the game, I made a call to figure out what I did right or wrong. Yeah, I mean it's just kind of like, hey, you send your plays in, you get them back, they tell you what they agree or disagree with, and you're trying to figure out as much as anything. As the rules change, okay, can we do this? Can we not do this? Can we hit a what used to be a great play is now a penalty sometimes, right? So can we do this? Can we not do that?
A couple key blocks, including on that Ja'Cory Barney touchdown. Just what did you think of the impact he brought as a perimeter blocker?
So Alex was one of the guys we talked about in the team meeting. We ran that play earlier in the game, and so they run with motion. So if you send a guy in jet motion, they chase him. And so last week, Oregon State had a ton of success handing the ball off. And really, people, for 2 years, that's the kind of one of the things you try to do against Purdue's hand off jet sweeps, right? Well, they made the decision, and we actually practiced it in case they did it. They made the decision to, instead of running with it, to rock and roll the safeties, which is a little more complex, but it's better in terms of speed sweeps. So the first one, Alex is going to go block the man-to-man guy. The man-to-man guy doesn't come. He sees a safety, he tries to veer off. He goes and blocks him. He misses it. It's a 4-yard gain. Now they get a 15-yard penalty for throwing his legs or whatever. So I yelled at Alex on the sideline. He was about ready to fight me. They ran it again. Alex sees it and makes the block. Ja'Cory runs for a touchdown. You see Alex turns around. He does this passionate, I don't know if he was telling me to get lost or if he was just fired up. But it's those kinds of things that we really are trying to build off of, preparing through the event, seeing how people are playing you. What do we need to do differently this game based upon what they're doing? Again, we're in warm-ups, and number 4 goes from playing middle linebacker now to playing an edge player. Oh, shoot. Okay, how are we going to handle this? Now 31's now no longer the deep safety. Now he's down low. 32 is a deep safety. So that's one of the hard things about playing a team that's struggling. They've lost their last 2 games because they're probably going to make some fundamental changes. Alex is just becoming more and more and more the guy that, the coaches or Dylan will say, hey, can I have Alex on this play? Because, he's a guy who finds a way to get a job done, and he was excellent on special teams. He was fantastic on. The shame of the special teams is the field goals was so front and center that it was a heck of a day for Brian Buschini. I mean, 5 touchbacks, in kind of hurricane-ish type conditions. I wasn't sure if he'd get the touchback. I think 4 or 5 touchbacks, right? An amazing tackle that lit the team up. 2 tackles on – he was able to field both those snaps, which were really bad snaps, get him down, then made both tackles on those plays. Pooch, the first one, should have been down at the 2, right? So he made an excellent pooch and then put one at the 10, one at the 4. So Buschini, I thought, was magnificent. And Bullock, another guy like that. I always try to talk to our team about the unsung heroes, the guys that no one's noticing. I thought those guys, Alex was one of those guys.
You guys are +5 in turnovers. Is this kind of what you envisioned when you thought about where you could be if things went right and turned around in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I probably didn't think we would be. I probably didn't prepare for. Oh, yes, we said it. Yes, I thought we would. If we could just not turn the ball over, we'll have a chance. Games will be close. We'll have a chance to win the game at the end. I didn't probably prepare for us being as explosive as we are in terms of like we're really. I mean, even in the first half, I showed our guys. It was, and forgive me for the numbers might be off. 32 plays for like 210 yards in the first half. 27 plays for 208 yards in the second half. So it really wasn't like we weren't explosive. So what you're seeing, I think, is you're seeing other people now slow the game down, run the ball, try to bleed our defense, try to keep us off the field. And so what you could see is like a young quarterback going out there being like, hey, I'm going to be extra aggressive because I'm only getting, we played 57 plays on offense. I'm not getting a lot of plays. But what I like about Dylan is he's checking the ball down. He's getting completions. He's moving the ball. And but yeah, I think that the turnover margin, I think we've won it in every game except one we tied it, right? And even the game we lost, we won the turnover margin. So I'd still love to see us get way more. Like, we have a couple sacks. Like we have 5 sacks but no sack fumbles. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. So those are the things. And I say that because our guys in the meeting, they were like, Ty Robinson barrels through, sacks the quarterback, and he's the first guy to say, I need to knock the ball out there. So there's a lot of places we have to improve.
Where are you exceeding your expectations in terms of creating explosive plays? What has your offense done better than maybe you thought it would?
I think we have the ability. I think we've had the ability to get the ball to a bunch of different people. Like you can't sit there and key in on, hey, they really like to favor Nayor, hey, they really like to favor this guy. I mean, really, if you throw in the pass interferences, right? I mean, I think we had 7 20-yard plays, and that would probably have been like 10, 11, 12, right? So it's not like, hey, it's just, we're able just to go out and throw kind of general tempo drop back, and we're holding up in protections. I mean, Emmett and Ramir were excellent picking up blitzes. So I think that's allowed us, some catch and run type things. What I'd like to, there's some things I'd like to see more of. Like, we weren't great in the red zone in the first half. We were 0 for 2 in the red zone, and we were 2 for 2 in the second half, which is why the game changed, right? Third down was disappointing. But, when you look at it, it was 4th and 1 and we false start, and it was 3rd and 1 and we false start. So just, as I told our guys, it's time for, grown man football. Enough of that. I thought I heard him clap, or I thought I heard, enough of that. Like, come on now. So, if we could stay on the field a little bit more, maybe get a few more turnovers on defense, I think we could really see some explosive things happen. But you're about to face some teams like Rutgers who, they don't give up explosive plays. They make you earn it. Coach Schiano doesn't give up explosive plays. They're going to play quarters. They're going to make you earn it. They will pressure you. And as much as we're kind of built to like, we want you to pressure us, we get the ball out of our hand. They can sit there. They play 4 3/4 with rugged players, and they'll try to knock you back into the quarterback's lap. So it's a whole different animal that we're facing this week with the way they play.
Washington gains 521 yards and scores only 18 points, kind of the template of like what their defense is good at, is preventing those big plays.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're I just went through it with the team. I think they're in the top 2 or 3. Right? They convert third downs at 51%, right? So they stay on the field. There are 33 minutes of time possession. You gave me the stat, Keith. They're top 10. Let's just say top 10. They're top 10 in red zone defense, right? So, Washington had a bunch of yards, but they were 1 for 5 touchdowns in the red zone. So, we have to find, even the touchdown we scored, but we had to get to 4th and inches to get it in. So, if for us, we're throwing the ball around decently. Can we get the tough yards? Can we get the 4th and 1? Can we get the 4th and 2? Can we get the 3rd and 1 without everything having to be a speed sweep? Can we line up and knock you back and go get that yard? And that's the state. As you look at the things that we're not doing well or doing well, or what we need to improve upon, it's those hard, tough yards that I'm anxious to see.
Rutgers has got a known history of blocking kicks under Shion. I think he's got 71 blocks in his time there. How do you guys address that this week? Just the importance of that phase of this game after especially what we saw last week?
Yeah, I'll just say this. Last week wasn't the field goal protection team. It was the snapper. I mean, like if you're kicking a ball at like 1-5, operation time. I mean, to me, it's the snapper. If we practice so much on special teams, on field goal, on punt, all those things. If we have to start changing stuff now you have to. If there's a problem, you fix. But if we have to start changing things now, then we're panicked. I mean, we know what to do. And I mean this sincerely. Like we know what to do, and we have the guys who can do it. They got to go do it. Like that's the phase that we're in. Like if you guys have heard me talk about like winning football to championship football, like you can't be a different guy in practice than you are in the games. And like we're making those kicks in practice every day, and so I expect us to make them in the games. And we're making that snap in practice. So, I expect us to make them in the games. So they're going to come after us. They should come after us, right? But one thing we are doing, like we went after the first punt, and if you go back to the last couple of games, the punters are getting the ball off against us in like 1.1, 1.2, and the balls are going 35, 40 yards, or going out of bounds. Like our punt rush team hasn't made the big play that everyone goes wow with, but the field is being tilted in our favor. Like we're getting the ball at the 40-yard line, they're getting the ball at the 5. We're getting the ball at the 40. If anything, I'm coachable. I watch Coach Ferentz. I watch these guys, and I'm like, okay, how are they winning in these elements? And the elements haven't really showed up yet, but when they do, like the wind was there on Saturday. But yeah, they're going to come after us. We're going to, we got good players. They have to play well. And, that's really been my message to the team is like, you can't all of a sudden now change who you are. You got to be who you are. If you're fast, be fast. If you're tough, be tough. And, do it against a really good Rutgers team.
Did Sierra do well to arrive midsummer and figure it out to get to where he is right now?
Yeah, he's smart. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you're smart and you try, you have a chance, some guys play football because they're talented. Some guys play football because they're football players. I don't know if that makes sense. like you somewhere along the way, like some people lift weights because they're lifters. Some people run because they're runners, right? Like Sierra's a football guy. He's a football player. So he shows up and you're not pulling teeth. We have some guys who are really talented, but you're trying to get them to be a football player and they want to be everything else, right? Sierra's a football guy. He's played a ton of football at a high level at, USC. The moment's not too big for him. He likes to compete. He had to learn kind of our way of doing things, our way of practice and all that, but he's a really, really good person. And so when you do correct him on something like, hey, here's what we expect, he does it. And then, I think John Butler's done a really good job. And then, Melvin and Adam DeMichael and Tariq help him, and they do a good job of getting people reps. And then if you go back to that game, we had Mario Buford in there playing in crucial times. We rotated more guys. Jeremiah Charles got real reps. So we wanted to get more people in the game so we would be fresh in the fourth.
Dylan mentioned on the touchdown throw to Banks that he went from a double cadence to a silent count. Said there was noise and just a lot of different stuff going on that play. It was a third down. First road game. Is that he kind of talked about it nonchalantly, like he just did this. Is that kind of thing rare for a quarterback like him to do in that spot?
I mean, I think the thing that we've done with Dylan is we've said, everything in life happens for a reason. I had a chance to work with a guy, Ben McAdoo, at the end of my Carolina time. It didn't work out for us. But Ben had been with McCarthy and all those guys in the Green Bay and the way they train you in Green Bay. And they start the year off, hey, here's our 4 or 5 man beaters. Here's our 0 beaters. Here's our cadences. And then you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you train him that way. And then pretty soon he has all the answers to the test when he's out there. And so I think what we've done with Dylan is I've said it from day one. I think Steve asked me the first week, like we're just, however we want Dylan to play when he's a junior, we're just trying to coach him that way now. And the same thing with Danny Kalen. And the same, so, here's your cadences, here's your checks, here's your audibles, here's your opportunities, there might be different things on different weeks, but even the right before the half, they brought 0 and he checked to a wheel route to Ramir and just missed Ramir. But we're living with those things. Like maybe we didn't want to do that. Maybe that was, we could have just won them, but we have coached them up and they've put the system in that's really, really, really high level stuff because he can do high level stuff and he works at it. He reps at it. Like, I'm in my office today. He stops in my office. He's talking about the things that they do and what, can I do this? Can I do that? So, I think he's rare, but I think the confidence the coaching staff has given to him to go do it. And then also I think that his preparations preparations like way over here.
Talked about the growing team. Where do the 5th and 6th year guys fit into allowing that to happen?
Yeah, well, I mean they're growing too because they're in territory they haven't been in before, right? And so they haven't been 4-1, right? They haven't. How many road? I don't know how many road games they've won, right? They haven't done those things, and so it's this humble confidence to stand your ground, right, and not, be confident in the things that you're confident about, but also be humble to say, hey, what do we need to improve upon? So, can you come in this week, and can you have the same edge to you as you had last week about what do we need to get better at, while at the same time being confident, knowing, hey, I'm a good player, I have the right to, I've worked hard, and so. A lot of those guys, I think they're all growing. I don't think it's age as much as it is just, hey, what does this take? What does this require? Like, you watch Purdue and Purdue gives up, he gives up, I don't know how many yards he gave up to Notre Dame, but it was just a bad day. Right. And then they give up, 300 some yards rushing to Oregon State. And I think, Sam asked me, I was like, well, we don't really have a running quarterback, and they're not going to. Your defensive head coach is not going to give up 200, 300 yards rushing 3 games in a row. He's just not going to do it, right? So they played man and left their guys on an island out there, and so we went out. We threw the go balls, and So I just think like our guys like learning like, hey, because we're winning a few games now, people are going to do different things against us, and I've got to get to the game. I've got to recognize what's happening in this game. It's not all this emotion beating our chest. It's like getting to the game and being like, what are they doing? Oh, hey, this is a cover 2 game. Hey, this is this game. Hey, this is that game. And then them seeing the preparation, the things that we're working on and showing up. Like Barrett Liebentritt, I said this on the thing. He had the same play in practice that wasn't very good. We showed it to the whole team. He got in the game and he absolutely took out 2 guys, like you guys said. I hadn't seen that yet. So hey, practice matters. Practice matters. And the guy that he hit in practice was Marquise Buford, who's 2 ACLs. Bad shoulder, bad hip, bad neck, plays in every play, but yet he's out there in his black shirt, competing on a Tuesday because that's what we do here. And so I think those older guys, them still being coachable, them still having a lot of say in things, like even some of the discipline issues that I'm dealing with, with guys on the team. I take those things to like the leadership council. Like, hey, how do you guys think we should handle this? I haven't done that in a long time, but I'm taking it to them because it matters, which is, to be quite fair. This is why I really don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about the guys that aren't doing things right. I want to talk about because I have so many guys who are doing things right. I know you have to ask about them. Trust me, I get your job. You just have, I sometimes you see why I'm the way I am. But, I'm just blessed to have guys out like Tommy Hill's out there battling to play. So battling to get back out there.
Johnson's averaging over 8 yards during that. Assuming he's one of the guys that is doing things right for you. Do you have to rethink the way that you rotate your running backs given his success, or do you kind of like the spot that he's in coming in the way that you guys?
No, I think I said last week, hey, we'd like to get him more involved, and maybe a little bit earlier we should have. I still think there's like a rhythm to it in terms of tackling Dante is really hard. Like on the first touchdown drive, there's like a 2nd and 1 or 2nd and 2 where Dante bounces the ball outside, and there's 2 defenders there, and he sets his pads and he runs right through one of them. If we ask Amir and Emmett to do all those things early in the game, then they're not going to be, to me, explosive late in the game. So I think having the big backs, you have to just understand that they're setting the tone for the run game. But what I loved about what Emmett did was Emmett caught the ball out of the backfield. He picked up blitzes, and then the first guy never tackled him. And we have our little keys to victory every week. And one of the things for this week was get the ball on the perimeter and be untackleable, right? Like, don't let them tackle you. And even like an outside zone that he cuts back, he gets 9 yards because the first guy's never really tackling Emmett. And, it's like I said to Gabe Irvin, I'm watching Gabe in practice last week. Gabe came off a major injury. He's getting his swagger back. So I think we have 4. Ives is over. Ives can go in and play. So, but yeah, I like what Emmett did. And so Emmett deserves to keep playing. He was one of the guys we singled out out there just because he just did so many good things, and not, maybe wasn't one huge play. He certainly bailed me out after my penalty, which I appreciate. So I'm very grateful for that.
What do you see with Kyle Monunga, the Rutgers back?
It's like the Matrix, it's like nothing ever kind of hits him. Like he's running and like he's just got such elite body balance and contact balance, but also like he sees it coming, and so no one ever gets like a true shot on him, right? It's always like a glancing blow. I think he's really, really, really a great player. Their offensive line coach, Pat Flaherty, was was like my mentor when I was at New York. And one thing I know about Flats is like they're going to set their pads and come off the ball. They're going to be well coached. They're going to be physical. Like you watch their guys when the piles, there's a pile, their guys are come running in and diving into the pile and trying to knock it forward. And so that's the type of offense people have been playing against us, that bleeding, like, hey, we're going to get, 3, 4, 5 yards, just stay on the field, try to wear you down. So that's be a heck of a challenge for us. And then he brings in the element, though, Mitch, of like, they had him backed up against Washington, and then 3 guys hit him, and you can run for, he can run for 60. So then when he gets tired, they can bring in, Sam Brown, and he's 227 pounds and an excellent back. So they've got 2 of the best backs we'll see.
How do you think your defense is done handling that kind of style going at them, and how are they continuing to adjust?
Well, I think we wouldn't have been pleased with it, in games 3 and 4. I think last game I thought we were better at it. There's still, with the way we play, with the amount of movement and pressure and all that stuff, there's a play's going to hit now and then because we're moving, right? Like, but I thought, holding the 52 yards rushing. They came in, they were averaging a lot more than that. And, we prepared so much for the outside zones. We knocked the outside zones out pretty quickly. And then it kind of became, hey, some of the downhill stuff. I think it was that first drive of the third quarter. The guys in the headset were like, hey, they're going to the Illinois plan. And so our guys on defense understanding, like, Illinois hasn't shown this, but now they're going to do it against us. These guys haven't shown that. The Rutgers is a difficult run game for us because of the way they run the football. They run duo, they run it mid zone, they run the quarterback a great deal. And the quarterback might be coming out to throw RPOs, but he's an athletic player. We played against him in Minnesota, so it's a lot of really difficult challenges for us this week, and so. It'd be quite a test for our defense.
What do you most appreciate about the way John Bullock is playing?
I think I like the fact that, like, he's a 5th or 6th year player, whatever he is, and he just keeps getting better. Like we showed, that was Tampa 2. He's the will linebacker in Tampa 2 that he picked off versus 3-by-1, and it's like they ran that same play twice before, and it's like. He almost went to go get it. It's just like, and then finally just went and got it. And, while he's got, kind of go back to the other question, while he's a 5th year player, he's really played linebacker for about, 14 games. And last year we had Luke and Nick out there a bunch. He rotated a bunch. So, he's still a young player in terms of his development as a linebacker, but he gets better and better and better, right? He's always working on something. He's working on getting off blocks or striking or his blitz patterns or playing man. And so, I if all of our team was like John in terms of the constant search for improvement, deliberate practice, you'd have a hard time losing because he's always trying to get better. And now he gets, hopefully he gets Stephon Thompson back this week. You get Javen Wright back's now in the mix playing for us again. Vincent Shavers is really stepping up, and a guy like John doesn't maybe have to play as many snaps. So his snaps, he can make impact plays like he did. He's really affected the ball, Steve. Like you talk to him how many times now he's got his hand on the ball. 3 against Colorado, I think, maybe 1 against UNI. Last week he takes the ball away, rips the ball out. This week he picks the ball off. So we're talking about turnover margin, and we're saying, the defense is taking the ball. Really, he's taking the ball away, right? Even the play Tommy picked off. I talked. They went to throw no ball number 2. He rolled in the window, so Shedeur had to go outside to number 1. And he picked that ball off. So John's just done a lot of like nuanced things.
1 or 2 more. John Kitsu's going to be inducted into the Nebraska Athletics Hall of Fame this weekend. What memories do you have of him, maybe from afar at Nebraska or when you guys crossed paths in the NFL?
I don't want to think about when I crossed paths in the NFL. He was just so dominant. He was a Heisman candidate as a defensive player. The most dominant defensive player, really, if you think about it, in at least in my recent college history. And so, and what I love about Ndamukong is as dominant as he's been on the field in college, and then he shows philanthropy, giving back to his university, which you don't always see, right? And, the weight room's named after him because of him and his family's generous gift. And then you play against him in the NFL, and he's this vicious, amazing competitor. He was in Tampa Bay, and he's hard to block. Yet you look at the impact he's having on people, on young people, in terms of saving, in terms of investments, coming back, helping guys with NIL, in terms of how to manage their money. Like his purpose in life is about way more than just football. So I'm excited to have him back. I think it'll be great for our players. I'm hopeful that at some point he can come by. I know his weekend will be packed, but he can come visit with our guys. And it's really a great, powerful message when your players see that like the best days of their lives are not their recruiting rankings or not, how they were drafted. Even like each thing should be better than the next, and life after football should be the ultimate, right? And so Dominican comes in with a beautiful wife and great kids and doing amazing things. So tremendous role model for our players.
Coach, something on the topic, but maybe you've talked about it before, but your thoughts on what's going on in North Carolina with the Storms?
Yeah, I've had 2 stints of living in North Carolina, so when I was in Charlotte and Carolina, and I have a lot of great friends there and people that we love. And so, our concern, our heart has been there. And when Julie and I first left, we were married for just a couple of years. We lived out in Western North Carolina and just out past Asheville and Cullowhee, where Western Carolina University is. Jarrett Washon, who's right over there, is one of my top guys, and I coached him there, and all those wonderful people in all those small towns up through into Tennessee and down into Georgia. My heart is certainly with them, and as someone who's been a part of a few of those kind of like the disasters, like you see the absolute worst, and then sometimes you have a chance to also see the absolute best. People picking up and leaving their lives to run to help, and but it's sad, it's unfortunate, and I met so many wonderful people in both my stints in North Carolina, really in South Carolina, and my daughters still go to camp in Western North Carolina, so all these people that we care about. So yeah, we've been on the phone, we've been concerned, we've talked to people, some people we haven't had a chance to talk to. Jarrett's family's still there, so we've been a little heavy-hearted over all that, and our hope is that the best part of man will step up in this time. So, all right, thanks, guys.
All right, there's Matt Rhule and his Monday press conference. Many things to dive through in there. The challenge that Rutgers presents, many challenges. The status update, situation alert on Micah Mazuka, how good Dylan Raiola is, and I think there is there's still a training. Back to our earlier conversation, the fan base of sort of like how things are going and how it's interpreted by the team, and Rhule's trying to change that, and it's I think it's still on its way down to trickling down to the fan base. So a lot of things to talk about from that. Josh is intertwined in a battle with his own emotions.
Yeah, what Matt Rhule say? I didn't hear a word.
So
yeah, I did hear he understands the media's job.
He does. He's really nice about that. All right, so we'll come back. There is still plenty to come on a Monday edition of the Connor Happer Show. Big Rhule overreaction next on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Where is Micah Mazuka? Is he on a plane? Is he
San Francisco
sitting somewhere? Is he working out? I don't know. Where's Micah Mazuka? Who knows?
It's America's favorite game show.
Here's what Matt Rhule has to say about the whereabouts of Micah Mazuka. So I think it's very clear that that's gone. Okay. Okay. All right, Derrick Henry, sit down. You should have worn your Braves jersey today. So I think Matt Rhule desperately wants to stop talking about Micah Mazuka.
He seemed very uncomfortable. I'm going to talk about the guys who are doing
Listen,
things well.
I know you guys got to do your job, whatever. But you're going to keep asking about this, and here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's how he couched it today. He goes, "Yeah, he's still on the team, and last time I talked to you guys, this is all paraphrased, but these were the bullet points. So we talked on Thursday. I thought he was going to be kind of with the team, and I wasn't anticipating him not being with the team over the weekend. He wasn't on the road trip. No." Stop. It's not actually that loud, guys. It's just regular typing. They just have microphones on them when they're typing. Okay.
What happened?
They're just it's just don't get mad at the scribes because they're once again doing their job.
Why are they typing?
They put mics and cameras on. This is not normal. This is not a normal place. They put mics and cameras on the people who are asking the questions. Normally, people don't care about the press conferences this much, and yet we play it live on the air every single week because we know that's what people want. This is not a normal place.
If you want to hear the question, you have to hear the typing.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Josh. Okay, so Mr. Mazuka. He was with the team, he's not with the team. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. Now, he is still on the team, but I don't want to talk about it anymore because he's a backup. So will you please stop asking about it?
We don't talk about backups.
Do you
we
think
kind of do? I mean,
do you think that will work?
It was interesting because later in the press conference he said, "That's how I want Dylan Raiola to play. That's how I want Danny Kaelin to play." Well, are we talking about backups or are we not talking about backups?
We're not talking about this backup.
Right.
We're not talking about this backup. Hey, look, he's a backup player for us. Okay. Speaking of backup players, Alex Bullock springing a couple blocks, not doing his job, getting ready to fight somebody, and then doing his job. He also said that Brian Buschini had a very good day. Wasn't the punter problem, it was just a pure snapping problem on Saturday. Just throwing what's his name under the bus.
Where you're kind of at a point
Yeah,
where,
I think it's just Mm-hmm. I think he's also probably defending
his kicker a little bit.
Well, I think he's defending his special teams coach too.
Okay.
It's been a rough go here for Ed in the take factory.
A photo of runs that you're having for lunch will not save you right now, Ed.
He's had a rough go in the public sphere.
Mm-hmm, sure.
People have forgotten all about when he went to every high school in Nebraska. So I think he's also doing that. He's like, look, man, we got guys who can snap it in practice. They just need to snap it during the game. This is our thing right now. We just got to figure that out. All right. I don't know that it's quite that simple, but that's definitely the root of Nebraska's issues right now. Asked about things that were surprising to him, either in a positive or a negative light. He said, and once again, this is all from my notes. This is sort of paraphrasing all of it. He says, I didn't think we'd be as explosive as we are offensively. You're seeing other people, other teams, slow the game down, run the ball to try to keep our defense on the field. And Dylan just continues to make good decisions. He checks the ball down. He gets completions. He moves the ball. And he is able to make the explosive plays as well. He also said that they have a few sacks, but they haven't got any strip sack fumbles. And that is not acceptable yet.
I like that it's a high standard in that aspect.
It is like some of that is just luck, right? Ty Robinson, giant person, he goes and gets a free run and sacks the quarterback. I don't know how many times out of 100 is that thing just coming out, no matter what, right? It just depends on where the ball placement is, if the how much the quarterback sees it, how much he's able to anticipate it, and frankly, just protect the ball. I think in the case of Saturday, he got the free run, and the quarterback didn't see him coming from his front side, and it just he just lodged the ball in between himself and the quarterback and Hudson Card, and it just ended up not being a fumble. So there was that piece of it. But talking about the offense, it really does seem like, when you look at it in totality, I know people are mad about the run game, whatever. They have, because of their quarterback, because of their decision maker, they have this ability to go at different paces, different tempos. They can check the ball down. They can make the right decisions, and they can also get pretty explosive at times as well. And they're gaining some explosive playmakers. Barney is really getting involved now in the offense. Starting to get a little dynamic.
Definitely.
They're on offense, I think. So that's certainly a positive. And he was asked why he thinks that is. And he says, well, I think we have the ball goes to wherever the ball says it's supposed to go, right? Wherever the play says it's supposed to go, or the read says it's supposed to go, not necessarily, hey, we gotta get it to Banks here. We gotta get it to Nair here. It's just like, yep, whoever's open, we're gonna get that person the ball, because Dylan has, the ability. We often talk so much about wide receiver and quarterbacks and their ability to trust one another, and that's pretty granular and specific. But I mean, more so, especially at the college level, it's about, don't tell Aaron Rodgers this, but can you get open, and can your quarterback get him the football in a timely manner and with the right pace and all
It
that
was
stuff.
raining, Connor.
What are you talking about?
The game Sunday.
Oh, Rodgers. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's triggered all the time. Rutgers converts third downs as well as anyone. They're top 10 in red zone defense. So I was looking up some of the analytics. I love analytics.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Gus.
So the things that Rutgers does well, he also talked about how Nebraska is starting to kind of tip the field a little bit. It just seems like they get it in good field position every time. And he's right. Nebraska's plus 4.7 in net field position this year, which is 26th in the country. Rutgers does the same thing. They tip the field in their direction. In fact, they tip the field in their direction even further. They're 13th in the country in net field position at plus 7. So this will be a really, really interesting battle. I mean, it's two teams who sort of look alike, and I think that the scales tip in Nebraska's favor because they have a quarterback and they have the ability to make maybe one or two more explosive plays in the pass game. Now, that all goes away if Nebraska's not able to tackle and bottle up the run game. But I just if you're looking for advantages here and there, it's pretty tight windows, but I think there's some areas where Nebraska can have some success on Saturday. Now, with that being said, Nebraska third down defense, not great, and they stay on the field quite well on offense, as Rhule mentioned. So that might be a rub in there somewhere.
Watching the Rutgers game Friday, it just really felt like Washington would get down there and then just couldn't do anything.
Yep.
Just suffocated.
Hey, Nebraska's not great in the red zone either.
Yeah.
So there's another rub in there too. They said the field's tipping in the direction, can't change who you are, be who you are. And I think he means, we're not going to, all of a sudden we get down to the red zone, we can't get tentative. We can't start calling plays that just get us 3 yards at a time because we don't want to turn the ball over. If we're going to trust our guy. And then that led into a conversation about Dylan Raiola and the things that he's done so far. And he went back to the line of hey, look, the thing that we've done with Dylan is we've given him everything, right? We've just given him everything. Because he was asked a question, I think it was from Mitch, about we checked off some things, and he had a moment in Saturday's game where he just, made a really, really advanced play. And we see several of these a week. And in fact, we probably don't see several of these a week that happen, right? Just because we don't know ball. I shouldn't throw everybody. I don't know ball, right? There's just things that the quarterback is able to do, whether it's with his eyes during the play or before the play to check into the right stuff, that he does it. He's playing his 5th game. He's so advanced. We know this, right? And so he was asked, like, how advanced is that, and how rare is that? And he went back to the idea of like, hey, look, we've given him everything. We've put everything on his plate. And the system that we run is not easy. It's high level. There's checks. There's decisions that you have to make, whether it's inside of a given play or before a given play. You have to know all of it.
Plays at a time.
Right. Yeah. You have to know all of it, and you have to be proficient in it. And then you have to know everybody else's job as well. But he has like nailed it. Like, I don't think they can give him more. Right? As far as things to put on his plate, I don't think they can give him more, with the exception of like how a game turns out and what you put on his shoulders and say, hey, look, go out and win it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like actual game plan stuff, plays, and decisions that get put in his hands. I don't know how much more they can give him. And he says, Rhule says his preparation is, quote, way, way, way over here. Way, way, way over here in a good direction. And he said he credits the coaching staff with instilling some confidence in him to be able to go out and do those things. There's no doubt watching him. He's really confident. And he's confident because, like, I think he's really careful with how he says this type of stuff, but I think what he's getting at is this guy prepares all the time. He's the quarterback, so he not only knows his job, he knows everybody else's job. He knows what he's doing. He makes all the right decisions. And look at how confident he is on Saturdays when he plays football. He's not worried. He's making the right decisions, but he's not making throws or not making throws out of fear of throwing interceptions. He's making throws, and he can make some throws into tight areas because he's confident and he's prepared and all of these things. Be like him. That's how he's trying to get his team to play. And it's, you don't want to put the one guy on a pedestal too much, but I don't think you could say it enough. Like, Nebraska has a player at the position that is the most vital to football, who kind of doesn't really do anything wrong.
Right.
I mean, more like, I am so impressed with his ability to not do things wrong more than I am the things that he does that are over the top
Really well.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I know he can make, like, the 5-star in him says that he can make these incredible throws and throw the football down the field and squeeze it into tight windows and all those different things. But sorry, I just lost a ear in my headset.
Oh,
now.
my.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on over here?
I'm sure it's happened before, but I don't immediately recall watching a Nebraska game this season and going, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
Which is a very normal reaction during a Nebraska game of the last 10 years.
I'm amazed at his ability to, and I think Rhule touched on this as well, to keep the explosion, to keep the explosiveness in his game without making the mistakes. Like, if we're setting it up at the beginning of the season, we're getting the best of both worlds from Dylan Raiola right now. And that should only continue to open things up on the offense. We're getting the best of both worlds. He's giving you both the explosion that a 5-star would. Like, I thought it would go one way or the other. Either they kind of baby him and they make him, they take these soft and easy passes and you lean on the run game a little bit more. And he's a kind of like game manager. I know people like to say that in a bad way. He's kind of a game manager and he doesn't do anything. They take the responsibilities out of his hand and they take the stuff off of his plate and they make it easy for him. Or they just cut the cord entirely, go, and when that happens, you're gonna throw interceptions. We're getting the best of both worlds. We're getting the best of both worlds right now. And Nebraska hasn't played the greatest of competition so far, but gosh, he has just passed every test,
every checkpoint. He's hurdling them.
It's from John Thune Sucks Nuts.
I don't know that that's his Christian name.
That is what the Twitter account is,
Okay.
Josh. I think my cord broke here.
Oh no.
I always thought it was Rhule going ham on a Bic pen. I appreciated it, actually. Intensity. Now, not so much. Thanks, guys. He's talking about the tip, top. Yeah. Not that. Wasn't that.
Couldn't be our coach.
On the typing, John emails in.
Hi, John.
I'm with Josh. Having to listen to all the writers beating on their keyboards is annoying AF.
I don't know that was my opinion, but that's fine. I get it as a thing that can annoy people.
By the way, during that press conference, Rutgers put out their game poster for the week on Twitter.
Oh, love a good game poster.
Yeah. So this is a common thing now. Teams come to Nebraska and they get ready for an event. Specifically, teams from the East Coast. Famously, UConn.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to Omaha last year to play college basketball, a game that they lost, for the record. Depicting themselves arriving in a giant cornfield. Well, Rutgers football has followed the same path. They have a seemingly gigantic football player in a cornfield with the sun setting behind him, and yes, they have made a corn reference.
Can't see much of that.
I think we have to stop.
Assumedly tall player.
I think we have to stop being angry.
This is what the world thinks of you.
Sometimes perception is reality, Josh. Look around.
I mean,
they'll fly into Omaha on Friday, and they'll get off and they'll say, wow, that's a city that has buildings. And then they'll drive to Lincoln and they'll say, see, told you.
You are playing the Cornhuskers.
It's the Cornhuskers, and there's corn all around us. Sorry, it's just the truth. There's corn. There's lots of corn.
It wouldn't make
and the corn has been harvested by now, and the fields are probably mowed down.
It wouldn't make a lot of sense for Rutgers to be riding in on a train on the game poster.
No.
Well, why don't you do a little research and find out the other things Lincoln is known for?
They think Nebraska. They think corn. This is the story.
Yeah.
So we got a good. Suggestion from Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
Jeremy says the next time we play Rutgers on the road, we basically do the same thing, except for a guy in a Nebraska helmet. He's peeking out from a giant pile of New York City garbage. And Sam, and I'm going to retweet this now at Connor Happer to go check this out. Sam has actually executed this for us. Thank you, Sam.
Sam, thank you.
It is a picture. So Nebraska's next game graphic, the next time they play at Rutgers, is what you're seeing right there, Josh, which is Dylan Raiola and his eyes peeking out behind a gigantic pile of waste.
That's great work.
I thought so too. I thought that was pretty good.
I didn't know where we were going. I thought we were we're going to talk about some gabagool. What are we doing?
Well, somebody also said, hey, why don't we put him next to the cast of Sopranos?
A steaming bowl of mastacholi in front of Dylan Raiola and is peering over the bowl.
There's a lot of options. A lot. Now, people always go with the big city. Welcome to the big city and the buildings. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Why doesn't Nebraska just, Jersey is basically Nebraska. Most of Jersey is basically Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't they just put them in a cornfield too? It's off to the fields of New Jersey. That could be funny. You got options. Travis has a suggestion to Rutgers. Why not have a picture of a player in front of the telephone museum? Josh, did you know that Lincoln is home to the telephone museum?
No.
Or a telephone museum?
Just a telephone museum?
Also, Lincoln people will have to help me on this. The roller skating museum, I believe.
That rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah. Telephones, roller skating. Text from the 402.
Hi, 402.
I have a punting question. Is this I have an opinion, or is this a real question?
Is it an opinion or a question?
Let's find out. When the punt team tries to take a delay game to give the punter more room to kick and the receiving team declines it, why don't they just do a false start and then the punt team can't decline it? Is that a no-no after the delay of game penalty?
That's interesting. Theoretically, it would not
Can they?
illegal?
Well,
Why would it?
they can't. Now, I don't know ball. Example 500 of the day. They can't decline a false start. I guess it's a dead ball, right? I guess I never thought about that before. But usually you get into this weird like match of, nope, I'm going to take the delay game again. Nope, I'll decline it again. Take the delay game again. Decline it again. That's just football coaches being football guys, right? No, you want 5 yards? I don't want you to have 5. You want to lose 5 yards? It's something that you want, so it's something that I don't want. No, thank you. Decline. That's football. Does it actually make it easier? I don't know. It's 5 yards. And it's a waste of everyone's time.
A lot of that game was.
Venmo Chris writes in.
Hi, Venmo Chris.
I love me some Dylon, but sometimes I have dark thoughts of what it would be like at Ohio State or Georgia. It would be insane, and I think he's better than their guys. You know what? I was watching that incredible Georgia-Alabama game on Saturday night.
You enjoyed that game. Interesting.
Very good game, Josh.
Interesting.
I didn't say whether or not it was going to be a good game.
You said on Friday that
I just said
matter.
it would. I spoke to it mattering.
It didn't matter. You said.
It mattered from narratives, like I said it would. Now we have a new Heisman front runner. What was I wrong about?
Oh, I mean,
both those teams are making the playoffs. Josh,
you just
you can't challenge me on this and not expect a bite back here.
You said it was a dumb game that didn't matter.
No, I said it was going to be an awesome game, but the result didn't matter.
Everyone who would dare enjoy it is a moron.
Josh, you tell me, are both of those teams going to the playoff?
Almost assuredly so.
Yeah. Were both of those teams going to the playoff before the game?
Yeah, assuredly so.
Thank you. I was thinking about Dylon and Carson Beck's shoes. And I don't know that it would have been any better, but he could have certainly gone there and thrown for 400 yards, like he and been a part of those games. You know, I was thinking about that during the game. It's like, wow, he really gave all this up just to be here with us. We owe him our lives.
Maybe the Georgia fan base would have wanted a thicker boy at quarterback on Saturday.
He is kind of skinny, isn't he?
Yeah.
Carson.
I don't know Dylan's taste in women, if a Cavender would be good enough for him.
Okay.
I don't know.
Travis says Rayola is better than Giraffe Boy, Carson Beck.
So
he is a giraffe boy. He's got quite the neck.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody over the weekend. You could take a stock photo of Carson Beck without a helmet on and put like, don't do meth on the bottom of it. And no one would say, well, that's not a meth user in the photo. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm sure he's clean and a nice guy, but
that's good.
Boy, he's got a look about him.
Yeah.
Just oddly skinny.
I want to say this about this. We could talk about it coming back to. That was Ryan Williams' catch on the sideline. Was one of the most fun college football plays that I have ever seen.
He's 17.
He's 17 years old. He is a tiny baby boy. And in the biggest game of the year, after a gut-wrenching comeback that Georgia just kind of like slowly matriculated this comeback, and all of a sudden we all opened our eyes and said, Georgia is winning here. What's going on?
Oh, Georgia's going to do the thing where they pull it out of their butt like all those top 5 teams
and on
seem
the
to do.
First play, they're like, bleep this. We're going deep to Ryan Williams. I don't care who's down there. And on the sideline, turns around, looks for the ball while catching it, pirouettes, spins around a guy, and then does another spin around another guy, turned on the burners and scored. And this was just in a vacuum. He made several other incredible plays earlier. That was one of the coolest college football plays I have ever seen. Period. I will remember that play for a long time.
Yeah,
that guy should win the Heisman. He's 17 years old. That guy should win the Heisman.
We should give 17-year-olds the Heisman.
just the Heisman goes to the best 17-year-old every year.
Yeah.
That would be weird. A weird change in rules.
What?
Yep. All right. So we got some questions and thoughts from you guys. I got to go find a replacement cord for my headphones here.
No.
We'll get
I gotta
there.
watch the Braves.
Josh is busy watching the Braves. We will return on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Hey, so maybe today is very few people have cell phone service, including myself.
Oh, you out?
Yeah, I got an SOS right now.
I'm on the Wi-Fi in the building.
Well, I'm on the Wi-Fi in the building too. Like that works. I could
Okay.
use my phone for texting and for tweeting and whatever while I'm in the building. I just can't call anybody.
You weren't calling anyone anyway.
I guess sometimes it's a Wi-Fi call, I suppose. But like once I leave the building, I'm out in the wilderness. So maybe that's a lesson we can learn from today. Yeah, Josh, get that out of there.
Let's see what happens when I get off the Wi-Fi here.
So yeah, when I'm outside the building, I'm just off on my own. And maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe we'll have to pull out a map today.
Whoa.
Could be fun.
I'm on the 5Gs.
Do you have Verizon?
I do.
So we're getting a couple comments that say like I'm on Verizon. I'm good. I have no idea.
Our television partner.
Yes.
Channel 7.
Yes.
Oh no.
KTV.
I didn't know we were going to talk about it. Bill Shammert.
Yep.
He's a reporter there.
He is. He's an anchor.
That's right. His work phone is Verizon. It's working fine. His personal phone is a Verizon phone. It's on SOS mode.
So it's just personal phones?
Yeah, I guess.
If we're to deduct anything from that. By the way, Nebraska and Rutgers this week. FS1 will be the television network. Play-by-play provided by Alex Faust and analyst Robert Smith.
I don't know who either of those people are.
Robert Smith, the old
lead singer of The Cure.
He's no, I've talked to him before. He's a former NFL guy. Ohio State guy.
Kirk Herbstreit.
No. His name is Robert Smith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was a former Viking. Good guy. I'm glad.
All right.
He'll be on the game this week.
If you say he's good, I will trust you.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Who's planting the crowd mics?
Not Peacock.
Okay.
This week, so that's good.
Somebody who's done it at least minimum one time before.
Tyler says that Robert Smith is a fake name. He is not real. All right. I haven't read this in full yet, but I'm going to start because I trust Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Can I go Jimmy Allen conspiracy theory for just a minute?
Oh, yes.
That's what I have. That's what I know about this.
Good start.
And say that under different leadership, that locker room may be divided with how much praise Dylan Raiola is getting. I feel like the year Crouch had the SI story come out, only really talked about him and not the team. The air went out of the sails in that Colorado game that week was just, it was all about Crouch and not us. Just saying, Connor, only conspiracy theory, but you need to keep it all together with a stud like him and not let the egos fly. I just think they're.
I need more evidence than that.
I just think like they're really honest about players and their performance and their status in that locker room and publicly, and in order to be giving him this much and then heaping praise on him, like we can all see it. It doesn't do Nebraska any good. It doesn't do Dylan Raiola any good. It doesn't do Nebraska as a team any good for them to lie to us about how good they think he is, right? It benefits the program, and Crouch was in his last season at that point. It benefits the program for Dylan Raiola to be a national star. They still have at least 2 more years with him after this.
Yeah, everyone's ship rises,
right.
And
I think so. That's how I would view it.
Rhule did about as good a job as you can in the preseason and the early games to not be like, hey, this is a total 5-star we got in the room here.
I don't think that there's anybody in that locker room looking at Dylan. It's like, why are they talking about that guy so much? Because everybody knows that he's their best player. And he's the quarterback.
This sounds a lot like
everybody knows this.
Oh, if the quarterback gets $1 million NIL deal, maybe the old lineman doesn't block for him one time and says, hey, you give me some money, I'll block for you.
A couple things that we want to run through here in the next 5 or so minutes before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Remember when Nebraska did a one-on-one physicality drill before the game?
No.
Oh, you didn't see this, Josh?
No.
Oh yeah, well you big in 60 this.
I did.
I think they mentioned
forced to by Peacock's terrible broadcast.
I think they mentioned it on the broadcast toward the beginning of the game, but it was certainly out there from the scribes that made the trip to cloudy West Lafayette. Honk, honk.
The Beth Mullins Memorial.
Oh yeah, it lived up to it. But Nebraska all met as a team on the middle of the field before the game.
Oh, yes. Okay, I did see that.
And picked out a guy from offense, picked out a guy from defense, and had them just ram into each other for a little while. Set the tone.
It seems dumb, right?
Oh, no. Matt Rhule's pressing buttons. Let Matt Rhule press whatever button he wants.
We running Oklahoma drills pregame?
Not really. Not exactly.
Okay.
It's just kind of like block on, it's basically just a cage match with 2 guys,
Cage match?
You kind of had to just have them go up against each other, right? Who could get by Like there wasn't a running back and a linebacker to finish off the Oklahoma. It wasn't like the one was the ball carrier.
Hell and a sack.
That's basically what it was before the game. And Matt Rhule was
I'm in. I love it.
Vince McMahon.
You've convinced me.
In that situation.
Matt Rhule is nothing like Vince McMahon.
In that
Let's be
situation.
crystal clear about this.
Wasn't that his voice?
Hell and a sack.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Matt Rhule was basically Vince McMahon.
Nope. Don't
in
like
that situation.
Don't like what you're saying.
He said, line them up and let's roll. I
believe Vince McMahon said something similar.
Nice, Josh. I think Matt Rhule is pretty. We have all been critical of coaches around here before of not having a good enough, not having a good pulse of their team and understanding what they need and how they might react to things. I think Matt Rhule does a great job of walking the line in between, like balancing what they need, what they might need in a given moment, and just straight up laying it all on the line and challenging them. This is what you need, but also we're gonna challenge you because this is gonna be hard for you.
You can call it a gimmick or whatever, but I like that he does that.
I love it. It's part of being a good coach, man. It's part of being a good coach.
It's like a mini game for the kids who play the video games.
Oh yeah, you want to do a video game like Master Motivator is one of the
That's
one of the categories. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So I thought that was noteworthy that they did that before the game. Also, one of the storylines in the NFL today, Tom Brady, Baker Mayfield aren't actually mad at each other. You guys need to grow up, be an adult, okay?
No, but did you read what everyone said?
I did read what everybody said. That's what I'm trying to tell. I'm trying to tell him you guys are idiots. Stop taking things so personally. So Baker Mayfield goes on a podcast last week and he was like, "Oh yeah, Tom Brady is really high strung and everybody was really stressed out when Tom Brady was around." And Tom Brady before the game clearly wanted to say something about it and said, if I want to have fun, I take my kids to Disney World. I thought winning championships was fun. I win championships, basically. We're starting to see Brady. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a little bit of Brady. And Burkhardt just paused and he was like, "Tom, do you have more to say about this?"
Because I'm going to let you.
Why don't you? That's why people are tuned in, right?
Also, please don't take anything that is ever said on the Casa de Club spelled with a K,
Nice.
podcast seriously.
Okay. So, like, these two people can exist in the same world, and it doesn't have to be like a Tom Brady versus Baker Mayfield situation. There's good and bad to both of them. I think Baker is doing it his way, and like, hey, we're having fun, and it's not that stressful. Tom likes to approach things in a very, very different manner, and he wins championships, but he also understands that there needs to be some, like, a deep breath sometimes. And they did an interview after the game. Brady interviewed him on the broadcast, like after the game, and like they weren't mad. Nobody was taking anything personally. It's okay. We don't have to make this thing out to be like, it's Tom Brady versus Baker Mayfield in a hell in a cell. No, not everything is about people hating each other and fighting each other. We can have different viewpoints on things. It is indeed allowed.
So it is allowed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to be clear.
Charles writes in.
Hi, Charles.
Who would win in a one-on-one Oklahoma drill? Happer Odson. Who's the ball carrier? Because I don't think here's my scouting report on both of us, Josh.
Okay.
I think both of us would be willing to be the ball carrier. I think neither of us would like to be the tackler.
That's a good assessment of what would happen.
I think we would both truck each other.
The ball carrier would truck.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In both occasions.
Yeah.
That's my scouting report on both of us, knowing our personalities and the way we approach things.
Whoa. Billy Haywood. Noted Twins manager.
Billy Haywood's here?
Yeah.
The kid?
Odson has had his body beat down by years of having a child. Connor's body is still fresh and undamaged from fatherhood.
Undamaged, huh?
Not wrong.
I fell asleep at 8:45 on Friday night. You think I'm undamaged?
I went to the park every day last week.
Yeah, you're a little bit more beat up than I am.
My legs have been eaten alive to the point where one of them has a bruise, and I think I should see a doctor or something.
So does that mean that you're in better position to win this than I am, or worse?
I think
you're more battle tested.
I think you want it more, though. I just like, okay, fine.
I'm just fresher.
Let the guy have it.
Also, okay, we have Josh. Give me 60 seconds starting right now.
Okay.
10 years ago today was the greatest day in the history of days, and I'd like to pay tribute to that day 10 years ago by saying this: the Kansas City Royals are going to the playoffs, and by the way, they finished one game ahead of the Seattle Mariners. Remember when they were down 7-0 in the first inning, only to come back and win 10-9 back in June this year? I do too, Josh. It's almost like every game matters. Now, we'll be celebrating our 10th year of the American League Wildcard Game, 10th anniversary of the American League Wildcard Game, by not remembering the past, but looking forward to the future. And looking forward to tomorrow morning when a postseason roster is released and Vinny Pasquantino's on it.
Probably.
That'll be exciting. And we'll celebrate by having a extensively long conversation with Jake Eisenberg tomorrow.
Gonna need to dial the crossover down a little bit.
We both got going, and I'm not gonna make him stop talking. So
it's your wheelhouse.
There may be a 20-minute interview about the Royals tomorrow. But
that's what people come to the show for.
That's the gift. So the 10-year anniversary gift that I've given myself. Oh. It's a 20-minute baseball chat with Jake.
Oh, sorry. I think your 60 seconds are up.
Oh, okay. All right. It was a good game. Royals were down 7-3 in the 8th, and they won. Salvador Perez, I don't know if you heard about him. He had the game-winning hit. He's the only player on either roster.
Couldn't throw to thirds Friday night.
Royals, he's not great at the whole catching thing anymore, / throwing people out. I wonder if they'll toy around with having catch and having him play first and Vinny D. Okay. So it was a great game. Salvador Perez had the game-winning hit in that game, and then it kicked off the most incredible October of my life, and until the next year. And they're going to try and do it again starting tomorrow. First time in the playoffs in 9 years.
This is it, Connor.
I'm not as emotional about it this year because I'm not as reflective.
They get on a run, you'll start getting reflective. Like, oh, this team.
No.
I think be walking around the office going, this team.
No, I was only reflective about it all of these years because they were so bad all of those years.
Oh, okay.
If they become good again, it will diminish the memory of the 2014 American League Wildcard Game. Which you hope is never the case, but I do enjoy winning.
It's a lot of fun.
See what happens tomorrow afternoon. Royals will be on 1180 The Zone starting at 2:30.
That's right.
We'll be back after this with the polls. We'll tell you what to watch on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Odson. Josh Odson's Atlanta Braves with a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the sixth.
Tell them.
With 6 shutout innings from former Nebraska shortstop Spencer Schwellenbach.
That's right.
Ooh, give that guy a task and he's going to do it. He's like the Dylan Raiola of the Braves.
Oh, but don't talk about it too much. The other guys will get jealous.
SEAL Team Nick writes in.
Hi, SEAL Team Nick.
OMG, shut the hell up about the Royals. We have Indiana, a.k.a. Alabama Central, in less than 2 weeks. Looking forward to a TV time to be released on that one a week from today. That'll be fun.
Where is it going to be?
Where's it going to end up? Indiana will beat the living hell out of another trash can this week, and Nebraska will claw and fight for their lives to beat Rutgers.
That's what they do.
They'll both have byes, and then Indiana time. Or Indiana after the bye. Or the bye. What's the schedule look like again?
You don't know ball.
I forget, but I'm trying to get into the mindset of one game at a time nowadays, Josh.
1-0.
1-0. It's 4 hours of us. That's every show.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's Rutgers and then bye and then Indiana. So Indiana's not in 2 weeks, guys. You still got time to prepare for Alabama Central.
Good. We're going to need all the time we can get.
So the polls today at Happer Show. Do we got toads? Is this like we got worms? I got worms. No, we don't got toads. I'd never experienced any toads.
I believe the we was the city of Omaha.
66% are saying we got toads.
Oh, wow. Overwhelming.
And the only other poll question today, do Greyhounds and Great Danes look alike?
No, terrible take from one Gary Sharp.
I don't think so. They both start with a G, though. 75% say no. And those are the polls. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
Well, we have a Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight. The Tennessee Titans at the Miami Dolphins, 6:30 on ESPN. That game will be on 1620 The Zone. It features what I believe, this isn't a bit, I genuinely believe this might be the worst quarterback matchup in the history of Monday Night Football.
Oh.
Will Levis versus Tyler Snoop Huntley. I tried to do some research on this to find out.
Be hard.
It was too expensive.
Where do you start?
Yeah. Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, and Lou Riddick doing that game for television.
What's the other game?
The other game is much better. Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions, who will be wearing their new blue helmets.
Ooh, Honolulu Blue.
That's right. 7:15 start on ABC. That game will be on 1180. That's, of course, the Joe Buck and Troy Aikman game. The Mets and Braves are finishing up the regular season and nothing more. Ooh, look at that little dropper. Yeah.
A little dropper, Josh says. Josh, you know ball.
I do know ball. ESPN2 right now. Braves are up 3-0 in the bottom of the sixth. Schwelly is shoving.
Let him cook, man. Let him finish this sucker. You got a doubleheader.
Yeah.
You got a game on Tuesday.
Yeah. You don't know what you're going to need out of your bullpen. Roughly 3:30 start for game 2. It's 30 minutes after the conclusion of the first game. Both games on ESPN2. If one team sweeps both games, Arizona makes the postseason. If each team wins one, then
both the Mets and the Braves make it.
That's right. And finally tonight on Sundance at 9:00, it's Rocky IV. I mean, do you love America? Then
do.
watch Rocky IV.
What we have football or Rocky IV?
Yes.
Interesting.
2 football games.
Yeah.
Or Rocky IV.
Probably football.
Okay. Which one? Which one are you going to go with?
Not the Titans one.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Although that's the first one, right?
That is the first
so
one.
I'll probably watch a half hour of it.
Uh-huh. And that'll be enough.
Yep. That's good. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
So we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Josh will either be the saddest person in the world tomorrow or mildly excited.
I'm going back to Cali.
I don't know. We'll see. Hey, plans are a crapshoot. You're about to get emotional Happer starting tomorrow. I'm going to be a wreck.
The last 2 years, the Braves have been undone by this week off. What if they didn't have a single day off this week?
That's right. That's right. All right, we are back with the crossover coming up on the other side on 1620 The Zone.